Alright, what's going on, chat? Appreciate everyone tuning in. Alright. Do a little hobbying. I've been quite busy. I got the AC going as well. Hopefully it's not too loud, as usual. Let me adjust. I was filming. Oh shit, I'm in 4K. Hold on. That's not good. Hold on. Hold the phone. One second, chat. I was filming fly tying stuff the other day. There we go. Okay. We should be good. I gotta deactivate, reactivate. Yeah, I was filming fly tying videos. Got a new fly tying video. The ballyhoo fly out. Alright, what's going on, chat? Hope everyone's doing well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We've been busy this week. I haven't been able to stream much because I had to get some videos done for LI Fly's mic, as well as the majority of the editing for the next battle report here on the channel, which is going to be a one-page rules battle report, Grimdark Future. So, what do you call it? Been doing that. Yesterday, I had a little time in between editing. I went and we're going to have to look at it on stream at some point, but I have to prime it. But I built like a gigantic complex, essentially, out of a huge styrofoam piece. So that should be interesting. That'll be coming up in a battle report at some point, but I do need to finish it. In the meantime, though, I've been working on the bots a little bit. I don't know why this camera's so bright. There we go. I'm working on the bots a little bit. I still have 5 more Mark 1s to build, I think, and then 1 more Mark 2 in the director. So I got to do that at some point. But I'm not necessarily in any rush. What I have been doing is working more on the Turkish faction. So I was thinking we could take a look. I did some color stuff, and I'm not necessarily certain if I was happy with it. So I think we might go with something a little simpler. But I have been working on them. So we'll take a look at those guys. And what do you call it? I also have a new Axis character model that I painted up for not only Konflikt, but also for Jerry's, The Adventures of Jerry. So I think this guy is going to be the big bad guy where he's going. So we got some hobby stuff to do. We're going to take a look as well at the Warlord website later and this and that, and catch up on things. Take a look at some different stuff I got here. I have been printing more Turks. I got to print... Oh, God, I don't know how many. I gotta see. I think I need to do... We have 6 mounted cavalry, which you can see here. The mounted cavalry. And the way Konflikt works, or the way bolt action works, with the cavalry rule, you need mounted and dismounted units. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. So I actually had to print more Janissary bodies and then put the heads of the mounted guys on there. And they drop their lances once they're off the horse. So I need to print... I did print 6 mounted, 6 dismounted. I think, though, I want to bump it up to 10 mounted, so I would need 4 more dismounted guys. And we do have 10 Janissaries. There's 6 here, but I have 4 more printed. So I have 10 Janissaries. I have 6 cavalry. We have 6 Jin, which are the Schreckwolfen equivalent, like our custom Schreckwolfens. We have 6 dervishes, whirling dervishes. So I need 4 more whirling dervishes as well. So we're going to have 10 dervishes, 10 Janissaries, 10 cavalry, 6 Jin, and then we have our 2 Spinnas, and we have the custom walker that we made. So what do you call it? Yo, Rugat, Rosgar, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. So anyways, this is what, if you took a look at the, I mean, it was like a month or so ago. I got to make the second video. But for the Turks, we have our Janissaries, and these are like our, I guess you could say, main Rift infantry unit that utilize alchemical ammunition to give them a better pen and, higher armor pen when shooting and stuff like that. So this is one that we did, and we were trying to figure out the colors for the Rift weaponry, or the armor being Rift imbued. So this was that pink color that we went with. This is the Power Node Glow, okay? And I was kind of torn on it, because part of me kind of likes it, but the other part of me is like, I don't know. So it does look pretty sick, because we have the camo armor. This is one without any Rift. It's not finished. This is like the main color scheme. They have the red and the white on their pants and the cloaks, if you will, or their jackets up top for the classic Ottoman and Turkish look, you know, with the Turkish colors. And then they have the camo power armor. So I was trying to figure out a color that complemented it. So we did the pink, and I was like, you know, it's interesting, but I will say I think I went overboard. I don't think it needs pink on every single edge of the armor. I think what I should do is just in little edges where it's kind of like, you know, in just some areas, like here, maybe a little right in the front. You know what I mean? I think I went a little overboard. So I think if I went a little less crazy, the pink might not be bad. But I did want to try purple, because we did talk about purple. So this is purple, and this is just using some speed paint over some white. There is no fluorescent purple paint available from Vallejo. And the purple does look pretty good. It looks interesting, but I don't know, it still looks a little... I'm not necessarily sold on it. Let me move the light so you can get a little bit more of an accurate representation. You think it looks good? Captures that mystic aura? Yeah, I think I need some sort of, like, Rift coloring, right, to complement it. So that's these two colors that we went with. And they're not bad. I think I lean more towards the pink, but what I want to do is I want to try red. We already have red, and if we just use some red on the weapons, maybe a little red on the armor, what do you call it? I don't actually have any armies that use red Rift color, or red Rift weaponry, so, and the red kind of fits the color, so I want to try that. Maybe we'll take this guy, for instance, and we'll paint the skin tone on, and then we'll try and do the Rift coloration. So that's where I'm at right now. I also have, I'll show you, I've been working on some of the cavalry dudes, working on their armor scheme. It's, you start off with black, I was originally trying to do tiger camo or something, but it ended up just being like a classic camo scheme. But I am working on some of these guys. These guys are going to be in the next video, as well as the Tepegaz Walker. So I need to do that at some point. So I am leaving a couple of them unpainted for me to paint on the video. But that being said, we do, let's take this guy here, and we're going to see if we can give him some Rift color with some red and see how that comes out. Part of me was thinking like, man, I should just use all sorts of crazy colors, because it's like a rainbow of colors, like they're taking Rift technology from everywhere. But I was like, no, I should find a cohesive color that I like. So, I mean, what I can always do is I can always repaint this, do the camo scheme over everything, and then reapply any Rift color. But part of me wants to do the pink again, but in very small amounts on the armor. The cavalry has more of a Persian vibe to it than Turkish, but they still look good. Yeah, well, you know, I'm very limited in what I could find for futuristic cavalry riding, Middle Eastern inspired units that fit in the Konflikt universe. And so these are Wargames Atlantic. I think these are Death Fields, or maybe not Death Fields. It's Wargames Atlantic Janissaries, which are kind of more inspired from, I guess, Ottoman, but brought to the future. So these are the Wargames Atlantic Janissaries, Then I have the Janissary Command Squad, which is like equipped with Giselles and like a flag and stuff. We're gonna have to print those guys out. And then these are the Wargames Atlantic Janissary Cavalry. So they are part of the same line and everything. I think it's just more so the gas mask turban helmets look a little different, but otherwise they literally have the same armor and everything. Same cloaks, all that jazz. But the helmets look so cool that I couldn't go with the classic Ottoman style stuff for the helmets. Because they're different, you know what I mean? Alright. As well, I wanted to show you guys as well, we also are working on Zona Alpha, Contraband, which is the solo version of Zona Alpha, which is a game inspired by Stalker. If you guys don't know Stalker, or like Roadside Picnic, it's essentially I'd say it's my favorite setting in general for video games and stories and stuff. I would love to do a Stalker tabletop role-playing series, and I think we're going to do it one day. But so I printed out a bunch of Stalkers. There's a dude with a, what do you call it, a VSS, which is sick. If you play Tarkov, VSS is classic. We got AK with a hollow sight, probably a Russian hollow sight on the gas block. And then we got a scientist, because you need a scientist for anomalies. And we got a dude with an SKS with a red dot, which looks sick. So these are going to be my 4 heroes, or my 4 stalkers, because you start out with 4 dudes. And we're going to play solo because the contraband stuff. So I wanted to show you this. If you know Stalker, check it out, though. We got a freaking Snork, which is a turned soldier on the right. And then we got the Bloodsucker. Dude, these things, if you've ever played Stalker, whew, especially the older ones. I mean, the newer ones, crazy, but... Yo, Bobzilla, what's going on, dude? Something to enjoy while working. I don't blame you. There's always going to be limitation when it comes to the custom units. Yeah, of course. But I think it worked out pretty good. Until Konflikt releases Turkish units, you know what I mean? Which apparently there will be Turkish armies. I don't know if it's going to be a whole custom thing or what, but they were in first edition, and apparently somebody talked to one of the game designers, and they said the Turks will be involved in one of the future expansion books. So we're pretty much predicting Konflikt before they release their expansions, which is great. Alright, also, what's going on, Rev? How's it going, dude? Yeah, I was actually supposed to have the one-page rules battle report done by today, but I had to finish my fly time video for yesterday, and then, God, it was so hot, so I can't record audio with my AC on, so I waited till last night to record it, and I got to turn 2, so I need to do turn 3, turn 4, edit my narration, and fix any mistakes, and then I got to do my silly voice lines I do for the guard and the Lust brothers. I had to stop myself from calling them from saying noise marines and saying the guard like 15 times because it's one-page rules. Doing well, playing with a painting challenge for Monument Hobbies. Oh, interesting. What does that mean? You're doing some sort of like Instagram paint challenge or something? Alright, let's paint the skin tone on this guy. Now, one thing to be noted, these don't have a wash on them. All of these guys are going to have a wash on them at some point. So that is something to keep in mind. What do you call it? Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind. We will do some sort of wash in the end to tie everything together, color-wise, but... So they do a monthly challenge. This one is a 3-color palette they grab at random. Ah, okay. Interesting. Don't do it? Don't do what? I talk too much. I never know what the hell you guys are talking about. The only way I can get paint out of this old army painter thing is take the top off. I gotta clear out this nozzle. Nothing for big money, most for fun. Well, that's the whole point, right? I mean, when you're doing painting stuff. Oh, keep them bright? Yeah, but I do want to apply some sort of wash and then highlight. You know what I mean? I do, though. I want to do that. It's going to tie it in. It's not going to, like, it's not going to be, like, a heavy, heavy dark wash. It's going to be a lighter wash. I do it to all my minis. Even my, Americans. And what I was doing, I was just taking black paint, thinning it down really thin, and just allowing some of the black pigment to sit in the recesses. It's kind of like a poor man's wash. But I have a sepia wash that I want to try, which is kind of like a yellowish color. And I think that'll be interesting. We'll see. The sepia might be good because it's not like a dark wash. We're gonna have to make our own though. We did a test at some point. I mean, this was before I thought I was just gonna paint them beige and then hit them with a sepia tone to give them yellow. But then we went and bought a World War II paint set for the desert stuff for the Brits, and it came with a dark sand, I think we went with, it's called. And that gave us the Turkish uniform color for the base of our armor and everything. Because we used World War II era Turkish troops in the armor, I mean the clothing they were wearing to base the color off of. Alright, let me get some tunes. I'm like, what the hell am I missing? Oh yeah, some freaking music. That's what we're missing. Yeah, I guess kind of like a glaze. I mean, it's a wash, but you can have different washes, right? You can have really, like, nasty washes that, like, give you that Turnip 28 super grim dark, you know, filthy look. Or you can, there's like lighter washes and stuff. It's more so just to, like, help darken up the recesses and stuff to give us that natural thing, because I'm not shading the entire miniature. If you wanted to paint it properly, I guess, or if you wanted to paint it, I shouldn't say properly, but I should say to a higher level, what you're going to do is you're going to build up the colors from darker to lighter. So instead of me just using the dark sand, you know, which I kind of did with an airbrush, but you would do it with a brush, for instance, kind of like if you were painting, you know, like anything else. You would start off with darker colors, you'd build up, and you would highlight and do all that. You know, if we did that, that would be one thing. But we're airbrushing over a dark brown, but still the airbrush, I was probably a little heavy with it at times, so the recesses still are a little light, too light for my taste, you know, and that's where something like a wash or something to help, like, dirty it up a little bit. And then if it's too much, you can just go back and do some highlighting. You know what I mean? But one thing I've learned, like, these aren't 40K, you know, this isn't like some 40K Space Marine unit that has, like, freaking little cherubs flying around and cleaning their armor. These are World War II dudes fighting in trenches to the death. You know what I mean? Except now there's monsters and rift weapons. I don't know if you saw what a World War II soldier looks like, but they aren't exactly a shining example of cleanliness. Maybe at the start of the war in a parade, but after a couple times having to crawl through the mud and fight off Totenkor, I'm sure the armor is not going to look clean, shiny, and bright. You know what I mean? If you want your guys to look like they're on a parade, then sure, but I like it to look like where there's like a little bit of roughness to the models. They've been out in the field for a couple days, you know what I mean? I don't want the white to be on their pants and their headbands here. I don't want it to be like freaking Mr. Clean, you know? I want it to be like dirty. That way it gives them that rough and tumbly look, you know? They're out there in the trenches, they're fighting, getting charged by Shrekwolfen. Last thing they're worried about is how clean their pants are. It's like, get ready for the battle, bleach your pants. No stains. You know the rules. No, they'd be saying, "Yolla, yolla!" Fucking throwing grenades at the Schreckwolfen. Yeah, movie quality World War II. Where they go back to their, what do you call it? Their, like, AC powered camper vans where they go sit in between sets. Yeah, yeah. And then they just put, like, a little dirt on his cheek. Boop, boop. Exactly. Okay. Just got a little skin tone on there just so I can get an idea. I'm going to hit it with a speed paint on top, like Crusader skin, and then sometimes I do highlighting on top. So I am going to vary the skin tone, though, from like a more kind of darker Middle Eastern skin tone to a lighter skin tone, because my father's Turkish, and he has very light skin, you know, he's more similar to like almost like Caucasian color, so I'm gonna vary the skin tones depending on, you know, where they come from in Turkey and this and that. That being said, though, Mediterranean blood like this, if I sit out in the sun enough, I get a crazy tan, so they do, you can get, I am gonna make sure to have a variety of skin tone for the Turks. They're Mediterranean tans. Alright. Alright, we're going to take some white paint, and here's what we're going to do. This is how I do the rift coloration. I'm going to hit raised areas on the armor, and raised areas on, and some area on the gun, maybe like the barrel, and we're just going to apply a little coloration to it. There's grooves in the armor, as well as in the, like, in the armor on the feet, where I think we could put it. There's some areas on the little gas pack we can put it as well, so we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna like the red, because the red, you know, might get lost with the model already being red. Also, this is what it looks like when it's actually done. So this right now, this is speed painted red. I use that as a base coat, and then I cover it in Mephiston red, the Blood Angels color, so that'll be on the right. But again, you can see, like, I think it helps when it comes to, because it's like an airbrush color red, the Mephiston. I think it helps when it comes to creating a little bit of, like, highlighting, but it still needs, like, a wash, the guy on the right, because it's very, almost one-dimensional, you know what I mean? Alright. What, are you not working today, Rev, or what? I was thinking we should do Japanese versus Russians on Sunday. Yo, Gruesome Dead, what's going on? We do have, yeah, so next battle reports, one-page rules. We recorded our Turnip 28 game last week. Oh, by the way, I got the answer. You are not allowed to spend tough tokens on the same upgrade more than once. What they're referring to is the lump. When it comes to you may oh wait, I gotta double check, but I'm pretty certain you can only do it once. I gotta double check what they said, but yeah, I think you can only do it once. I think I asked if it was just referring to the lump. They were talking about, like, they I guess I was talking to the, like, not Max, but, like, somebody that does the game design, and they were like, yeah, we were trying to figure out how to balance them, because they were saying the farmers are crazy right now. It's not too crazy, like, if you know how to deal with it. They were explaining if I can, like, deal with the plots and all that, but they did note that the farmers are kind of busted at the moment. But they're kind of hesitant to, like, I don't know, it was interesting, they were explaining it to me. They're kind of hesitant to change. They're like, you know, they don't want to do drastic changes and stuff. I'm gonna have to double check. We'll take a look at the in the Discord. They responded. We'll put it up on screen. We'll read it. It was cool though. You get to, like, talk to the people that are, like, helping design the game and everything. Okay, we're just applying a little bit of white in areas that I'm going to put some speed paint. But I'm trying to this time be a little bit more careful. I don't want to go like too crazy. I'm going to hit some other areas, raised areas. I had a bolt action game yesterday, and boy, was it a good one. Yeah, we got to do bolt action, too. I watched the Gurkhas game from Tabletop Command Post, and I was like, oh, dude, we got to do bolt action. It's hard, though, because we love Konflikt so much. It's like we're playing the same game, but with, like, cool monsters, too, so it's tough, because it is like you're playing the same game, essentially, right? Other than, what, Tough Fighters? So we're, you know, but part of me just wants to play with the World War II guys and do some bolt action. I think what we're going to do is we're going to try and do, like, instead of just playing bolt action games on the channel, I think what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and do, like, maybe we'll try and do, like, I said we'll try and do, like, 15 times. I apologize. Maybe some sort of campaign is what we'll attempt. Because we have some of the campaign books, or maybe we'll just come up with our own where it's like the Americans are pushing their way through, and I would like to do some sort of narrative thing, you know, where it's like something interesting. Yeah, I think I had like an aneurysm there for a second. I don't know what that, I just said the same thing like 5 times. So I'm just going to try and be a little bit more sparing with the raised armor area with the rift color. So I'm just taking some white and hitting some areas here and there, here and there. Recommend to them not getting access to the wounds. Oh, are we dropping frames? Damn it. Bear with us, chat. I think we're back. I think we're good. No, we're dropping a little frames. Hold on. Oh, I have a good announcement. You guys can probably still hear me at least, but we're getting fiber on Saturday, so we're done hopefully with this bullshit. I think we're good now. We're back now. I don't know, something's going on. It's like flip-flopping the frames. But we're getting fiber. I think my modem's having an issue too, because I've been having an issue where my internet completely drops for about 2-3 minutes in the middle of the day. This is different. This is we're having bitrate issue, which could just be internet and stuff. But we're getting fiber at least, thank God. So right now we have like 500 download and we have like freaking 20 upload or something. My upload is so bad. That's probably one of the reasons why I've been having issues for all these years. But we're going to have a gig upload and download with fiber. So none of this bullshit anymore. I can stream at a higher bit rate. I can upload things faster, download things faster. I can't wait. Because I don't know what's going on right now, but our bit rate's going from 5,000 to 900. And that's essentially like how good, that's the data that it's sending. I'm usually at 4,600, 4,700 bit rate. Right now it's going 47,000, 47,000, up and down. That's why we're having issues. It should stabilize, but yeah, I don't know. My internet's been acting freaking weird recently, so we had to make the switch, get some fiber. Luckily, it's not going to be too much more money, but it is going to cost a little bit more, but it's going to be worth it, so. Alright, I think we're finally good now. Mic check. Let me refresh. Kriegsman, it's alright. You know, I actually worked for, the cable, I worked for, not the cable company, but the, they were, what's the name of it? They were subcontracting out to another company. So I actually was installing cable boxes, running lines. I had the, like, the tool that can read, that they use. They plug it in, like, because we've complained before, where they come, they plug the thing in, and I'm looking at it with the guy, and he's like, nope, your internet, you know, so I used to use that thing. I worked for him for a little while. But the thing is, it's intermittent. So it could be on Optimum's end. We've had them come and change the cable line, the coaxial line, and that usually kind of like fixes things for a while, because it could be a freaking squirrel chewing on stuff. I don't know. It's such an antiquated system. We're finally ready to ditch it, and we're going to go to fiber, which should just be that much more reliable in general. and we're going to have a hell of a lot more upload and download. So there's so many different things. It could be them throttling my internet. You know what I mean? Yeah, whatever the readers used to have the thing, you plug the coaxial cable, you know how you have a coaxial cable, it goes into the modem, right? From the telephone pole. You run it to the house. So we used to have a thing, we could plug it out of the modem, you could take the coaxial cable out of the modem and screw it into the reader, and it would give you like a live reading or whatever. Yeah. So, I forgot the name of it, yeah. But I ended up not working for them because they found out that I had a little history driving. I'm not going to get into, but I also, I don't know how, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it because they wanted me to, like, you know those giant ladders they use to get up on the telephone poles? Dude, those things are so fucking heavy. And I remember a couple times, like, setting that thing up, and I was also afraid of heights. I still am. So, like, climbing up the telephone pole and shit. And then, like, something would go wrong, and the thing would start shaking because it's blowing, like, 20 miles an hour. I'm like, dude, fuck this. If I could just install cable boxes in people's homes and, like, drill holes in people's walls or whatever, that would have been fine. But the whole ladder business, nope, ain't doing that. So it ended up working out anyway. I just became a mechanic for years, and then a fly tying and miniature battle report guy bum. You still use climbing shoes? Oh my god. Fuck that. It's funny, I deer hunt too. I haven't done it in years, but I climb with a climbing stand, and it's one that is not, it's like really small, and it's for traditional bow hunting, the lone wolf. So it's like, it freaked me out every single time I did it. And I actually had the bottom of my tree stand fall when I was 30 feet up on a tree once, and I thought I was going to have to call the fire department, but I managed to use my folding saw to get the bottom of the tree stand to somehow wrap around the tree, and I put my weight on it. And that day, I actually shot my first deer with a recurve bow. That was the craziest day of hunting I've ever had. I was like 35 feet up in the tree. I was way too high. I was not comfortable with it at all. But it worked. They didn't see my ass. It was like 18-yard shot while the deer was moving with my Martin Hunter. Yo, JH Miniatures. How's it going? Appreciate you tuning in. But, yeah. The cable job wasn't for me, so I'm happy they ended up letting me go. Because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this ladder thing, dude. The ladder weighed like freaking 80 pounds. And you had to like pull the string to like get the ladder to expand up. And then you had to climb up there, wrap yourself around the cable line. Meanwhile, the power line's right above your head. I was like, dude, screw this shit. Yeah, I get what you're saying. They also have the spikes on the boots, right? So you can do that. Is that what you're talking about? And then the lineman's rope or whatever. All right. It was cool, though. But I will say, going into people's homes and stuff, that was, like, a little weird at times. Dealt with some interesting people. Later on, as a mechanic, I learned the less I deal with people, the better. Now it's fine, because I'm, like, tying flies, and so everyone's awesome, but I used to hate, like, having to get in the car with a customer, and they're like, you hear that? You hear that? I'm like, yeah, that's their water bottle in the back of your car, like, making noise. 7 p.m. in the UK? Nice. What's the temps like? Are you guys still getting, like, a big heat wave over there? It's been pretty hot over here recently. Alright, let's try a little red speed paint out here. Trying to figure out the colors for these Turks, because I need to figure out this color scheme so I can really start making progress on these guys. That being said, I mean, dude, we have Invasion America coming out. If you guys haven't, go check out, I just watched it earlier today. Cinematic Tabletop put out a video going over Invasion America. Not everything, but a pretty good amount, including some of the scenarios. And, what do you call it? I'm pretty excited for it. The first scenario is literally 300 points of Japanese ghosts. It's like a skirmish game. So I hope you're ready for that, Rev. It's literally like Skirmish 47 is the first scenario. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited to try it out. I would say we could take a look at Cinematic Tabletop's video, but I don't know them, and I don't know if they would be okay with me watching their video, so I just recommend you going and watching their video. Alright. That's one squad. Yep. I guess. Apparently 300 points of Japanese ghosts, and you're like infiltrating a town or something. So I gotta print some civilian models and stuff. Okay, we'll just try and put some red on the edges of the armor where I highlighted it. Then there's some crazy shit. There's one scenario where it's 2,000 points, and I think it's the Paragon scenario or something. If you guys don't want to know this stuff, then I'm not gonna, like, I don't think he spoiled everything, obviously. He just mentioned, like, the basics. But if you guys don't want to hear it, then dip out a sec. But there's one called Paragon Gun Ho or something, or I don't know what it is. And, Paragon's Ho or something. And it's... the Japanese are, like, trying to get into, like... I don't know what happened. It's like we blew up Area 51, or they blew up Area 51, and then we attack. So it's like the U.S. trying to turn the tide and, like, attack. And freaking... apparently we have, like, Schreckwolfens and Axis units locked up at Area 51, and the Japanese can break out Axis units to attack the Americans. Or something. It's crazy. Hot as hell here in the Midlands? Oh, I bet. Yeah, I heard I have family in Turkey, and apparently it's just hot as hell right now in Europe. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. Luckily, we have 2 Axis armies in every model, so we're good, but... hold on. So we're trying to just use a little bit of rift coloration. The idea is these Janissary models, they have power armor, but it's not like super thick armor plating like the Schwertruppen or the Stahltruppen use. It's more, it's got rift power imbued into it via alchemy. So the Turks are using alchemy, and they've either gained access, they, have been given some rift technology or research from the Axis, because the Turks are actually, they got conquered by the Axis. Or they're perhaps maybe getting funded by, like, the Allies, because there's, like, some revolutionary, or there's some rebel Turks. But it's all heavily based on alchemy, because obviously if you go back and look with like the Ottomans, and you go back and look at, like, during, like, almost the Islamic Renaissance time, if you will, where there was all these scientists discovering, like, things with astronomy, and they were looking into alchemy. This was like 1700s, things like that, or whatever. And I think some different times in history, but there's all these, like, records of, like, these Islamic scholars trying to figure out, like, alchemy and all these weird things, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the idea behind it. And then utilizing some, like, Turkish history and lore with, like, jinns and spirits and stuff, and Islam and stuff. That's kind of, like, where a lot of the inspiration is coming from for this army. And I'm lucky that my father's Turkish. It makes it a hell of a lot easier. If I need to figure anything out, I just ask him a question. Because he loves this sort of shit, too. Jinns and all this, and dervishes. Because we are technically dervishes. So, My dad was pumped. I'm like, yeah, I'm making a bunch of Turks and dervishes and stuff. He's like, what? So, get ready for these battle reports, dude. I'm going to have to record all custom songs. You know what? Let's actually listen to the, let's listen. This is such a banger, dude. We got to listen to it. I got to figure out. It's literally just a riff. But God, I could listen to this, just this riff on repeat for like 3 hours. And I do while I edit videos. That's how I know it's good, because I've written a lot of riffs and stuff in my day. But, to be able to sit there and whatnot. So we actually wrote a little intro, like kind of heavy rock song for the Gaslands video. I got to start using that more. Scott is that a good one. We're gonna listen to this though. That's one thing I'd like to do is make more custom music for our battle reports. So. All right. All right, let's keep painting. Let me know if it's too loud. It's kind of hard for me to tell because I'm running all my audio through a real mixer. Analog mixer. Old school, baby. So hard for me to keep. That's why I'm not a big miniature painter YouTuber, because I can never keep the damn thing in focus. I'm always moving minis around when I'm painting. Flipping them around, doing this, that, this, that. So when I do record videos where I'm painting minis, I'm like, okay, keep this damn thing in one spot and do not move it. I struggled with that in the George Washington video you're going to see coming out here soon. I kept moving the damn thing all over the place. You know, the red definitely does not... It doesn't stick out that much. We're going to take a look here soon when I'm done. But it also doesn't conflict that much. I feel like the pink and the purple might have been a little... Didn't necessarily complement at times. I mean, that looks... Am I missing any areas? Dude, I haven't played guitar in like a week, too. I gotta play later tonight. I gotta keep working on this shit. Alright. Yalla, yalla! I mean, that looks pretty good, dude. It's not the worst. I'm thinking I'd probably take white and like highlight on the, like with a really, really tiny brush. I gotta somehow make it look like it's Rift energy, you know what I mean? I kind of like the red though. I think I went a little overboard up on that top piece of armor. I'm just trying to like hit a small edge in areas to show it's like sparkling red. I gotta figure out though. This is where maybe taking a really small brush and like doing little white, like lightning, little white thing, you know, or like some maybe edge highlighting the red with a little white or something. I don't know. I think it looks pretty good though. What do we think? What's the consensus? We should actually probably take a look at all of them next to each other. And that's just some speed paint. I probably want to hit it with some actual red paint on top, and then maybe, I don't know, I gotta figure out how to make it look cool. Alright, these are our three colors we have so far. We have purple on the left. We got some red rift coloration in the center. And then we have the fluorescent pink paint on the right. I don't like the purple. I think the purple's too much, so the purple's out. Yeah, let Let me paint the end of the gun. I want to paint the end of the gun red. Like the end of the barrel. Oh, I need more white paint. It already, dude, this paint dries up so quick. This is why it is really nice having a wet palette. But my palette's dry, so what's the point of having a wet palette if I just keep it dry at the moment? I've been lazy. I'm also running out of the parchment sheets or whatever you use. I should probably just cut my own, but... Any thoughts to green as a more contrasting color? We could obviously try it. I didn't necessarily want to go with green because that's my green hand color and stuff. But, I mean, I'm honestly at this point open to anything, so. I know we talked to Sean because Sean's like the professional freaking painter. Even though he is using fezzes with the wrong intention. He mentioned like purple, you know, and we were talking about colors and stuff. And I think that's why we ended up trying some different stuff, but I'm honestly really open to anything. I mean, I kind of like the red, dude. I guess we're going to have to do another one. We're going to have to do some different colors. Purple might be good if you skewed it way brighter. Yeah, that's kind of the hard thing, though, is to do a bright fluorescent purple or something, because there really is no fluorescent purples or whatever. They sell one paint, I think, like that, but I guess what I could do is take white. I'm going to have to do, like, traditional highlighting with a brush and, like, go lighter and lighter until I have like a little white dot in the middle sort of thing, you know what I mean? That's the only way I'll be able to do it with the purple. I mean, the purple does look sick. Like, I really like the purple on the sword, for instance. That right there, I feel like that matches, but once it's on the armor and the gun, it doesn't really like fit. I don't know why. It's kind of hard to say. Then if we go with the pink, for instance, I feel like this fits a little better because this, we actually used a little purple and pink with this, so this kind of is more like almost what you're talking about, honestly. You know what I mean? Again, though, I don't know, is it like, is it too much? You know, how it's like over every single raised piece of armor? It's hard. I'm so torn, dude. I don't necessarily know what to do. That's why I'm like, part of me just wants to make it a bunch of different colors and just say they're just because of the rift, because of the alchemy thing, they're like, you know what I mean? They're like, but then it's gonna look like freaking Skittles on the table. Let's try a green one out, I guess. You know what I mean? Kind of hard to say. I don't necessarily know what's the best way of going about it, you know? I think the red is kind of nice, but it doesn't really, it just kind of looks like part of the armor. You know what I mean? Alright, let's try a green, I guess, or something. This guy kind of looks goofy as hell anyway. Let's do this guy. Unfortunately, I think all my paints have dried out. I really should keep the wet palette wet. Damn, that shit dried out really quick. I actually like these two better. The demon-looking one being pink and the normal one being red. You mean the one with... This one has like a... almost like a... it has a metal face mask on it. Is what you're talking about. Yeah. I mean, I'm actually not opposed to having some variation in colors. I'm kind of not, and it would be cool if they like somehow, if we just wrote in the lore of the Turks that they're like kind of. So let me tell you about this. In World War II, the Turks were neutral essentially, right? Because they just had gotten in out of a major civil war and everything. So Churchill wanted the Turks to join, and they were thinking about it, but then they were worried that they just had this massive bloody war for like 14 years, and they were worried, but they wanted the Turks to not join the Axis, obviously, because the Axis wanted to make their way down towards the Middle East for oil. And what was in the way? Greece and Turkey, right? And I think they actually made it into Greece, didn't they? Didn't the Axis make it into Greece or something? I forget. Or were the Greeks and the Italians fight? I don't know what the hell was going on. There's a lot of random shit going on in World War II. But so the Turks stayed neutral. But that being said, the Axis did. So they did make it into Greece. The Americans and the British sent tanks. So they sent, I think it was Matildas, and they sent Shermans. Was it Shermans? I forgot, but they did send, I think, like 300 tanks to the Turks to try and get them to like join. This was still before they decided to keep the Turks neutral, so they were trying to get the Turks to join the Allies. So they sent them a bunch of tanks, they sent them a bunch of equipment and all that to try and like win them over. At the same time, the Turks were smart. The Axis were giving them Panzer IIIs and everything too. So there's photos of like the British advisors, or like, you know, what do you call it, diplomats in Turkey, and they were delivering stuff. And then you see photos later on of the Axis and the Germans being in Turkey, and they're like showing them their Panzer IIIs, because they were both trying to say, hey, join us. So they were just giving them tanks and shit. And then at some point, the Turks decided to essentially formally declare war on Germany, and Churchill, they got the Turks to essentially work with them, but they were just kind of keeping them as a neutral buffer zone for the Axis to keep them contained. So it was very interesting. That being said, in Konflikt history, in the first edition of Konflikt, the Axis took over Turkey. Somebody told me this because they had the first edition books and everything. But there's photos of like Turkish Panzer IV mechs painted in red and white with the Turkish symbol and everything. So clearly in the history, it's probably going to be something to do with, yes, the Turks are, they did get taken over by the Axis, and more than likely, like the majority of the Turks will be working with the Axis, I guess, because they got taken over. That's how they did it in the history. But that being said, I think my Turks, and I picture this, because Ataturk and all these guys, I think they're not going to bend over. If you know anything about Turks, they're not going to sit there and be like, yeah, sure, come take over the country and take everything. No, dude, they're going to fucking fight back. So that's the idea, is my Turks are fighting against the Axis to kill those fake fez-wearing bastards of Sean's army, you know what I mean? Yeah, right. I guess you can always just use the Green Vault. Also, what's going on, Klobeck? You can always just use the Green Vault, because apparently the Green Vault knew everything from the 1800s or 1500s, and they caused all of this to happen or whatever. I will say the whole Green Vault part of the lore is a little wishy-washy in my opinion. It's like, oh, but the Green Vault, they knew all of this would happen, and then they secretly manipulated everything, and then when they managed to take over and they tricked this and that, and it's like the Green Vault apparently controls the entire world or something like that. But what do you call, I don't know everything about Konflikt lore, but my Turks, though, the way I'm going to play them the majority of the time is they're fighting the Axis. So they can obviously work with the Axis, and you could just make a Turkish army and just use Axis units and just say, these are my Turks, and you could just say these are Schwertruppen. You could just be like, oh yeah, these are my Schwertruppen, the Jin or the Schreckwolfen, and you just play them as an Axis army. But we wanted to do the whole custom faction thing, so. Okay. There's also a picture of a Turkish soldier with the Hot Kiss French tank. Ah. Also M24 light tanks. They also, yeah, they did buy a bunch of tanks from the Russians too, but they were like, it was the tank where it just had like a heavy machine gun on it, or a medium machine gun, and they were like, what the fuck is this, dude? These Russian tanks suck. I think the Russians were like, we can sell them all these old tanks that are essentially like World War I style tanks that aren't useful anymore. I think they were like T-24s or something. I don't know. But the Turks bought a bunch of tanks from the Russians. They got them, and then these were like, these are literally useless. What the fuck did we do? I thought that was funny. They're like, we're never buying another fucking tank from those bastards. Alright, I gotta paint the skin tone here. Green Vault was somehow active in 1800s, but they started infiltrating other countries' governments during World War II. Yeah, no, I understand. They go back into like the 1800s and stuff, where they like had this like this mystical belief or something or whatever, and they were waiting, and it just turns out they like predicted that all this would happen, but they didn't necessarily know that it was going to be the atomic bomb or something, right? But they knew that the rift was there or something, some shit like that. It just gives an easy reason to be like, you ask the lore designer, so how does this work? Green Vault. Green Vault, that's why. Okay, gotcha. Abraham Lincoln was part of the Green Vault. Alright, we're gonna try out green. I think it's worth it to have to repaint the armor on these minis and stuff like that, just so we can actually, like, we have to paint them. I think we could do Photoshop, right? And we've done Photoshop. I think originally we did some Photoshop to test some colors, but there's no real substitute for just actually painting it, right? So we're just gonna have to try it. As far as I know, the Green Vault had observation bunkers in Dresden, so they definitely knew something was going to... No, they knew in the lore, like, the Green Vault knew all this shit ahead of time. I don't think they necessarily knew in the 1800s it was going to be nuclear explosions, but at some point they're like, oh, they're making nukes, they're going to do this might be the... And at some point in the 40s or 30s, they were like, the Americans are going to nuke us at some point, you know? Yeah, Green Vault, I don't know. It's cool. It's not necessarily my favorite part of the lore in Konflikt, is like the Green Vault. Being part of everything and everywhere and all that. Obviously, too. The Green Vault's alright, but the Green Hand, that's where it's at. Colonel von Liechtenstein. Sheesh. Which... we have not had Colonel von Liechtenstein ride his wyvern yet, but now he does actually have a wyvern that he rides. I mean, we're getting enough into Konflikt where I think it's like, okay, we've played all the missions, we've done all the things, now let's do the wacky shit. Like, okay, yeah, we could play the same mission where there's 5 objectives, we have to hold it, or what we could do is, let's fucking just come up with some weird, crazy scenario and do some wacky stuff. Because I am getting a little, like, bored of the basic missions, you know what I mean? So, we're kind of expanding out, and that's why we were doing, like, multi-demolition. We were doing capture the flag, which I think Gabriel recommended from the chat, which is a lot of fun. So I want to do more, like, we'll come up with our own scenario sort of things. Because it's not, like, you know how, like, I guess in 40K, like, the missions and all that, like, really make a big difference. I guess in Konflikt it does, too. I feel like we could just change up the mission, and the game, you know, the game still feels... It's not like we do a custom mission, somebody's like, I'm not going to watch this, because this is not an official mission. And it won't benefit my Konflikt playing experience. You know what I mean? I feel like this is the exact sort of game where we could do wacky, fun stuff like that, and people will enjoy it. So we'll try some different stuff out. Later's hinted those rifts don't last forever. Not sure if they are meant to be made by bombs or something. Yeah, I already have a competitive game, exactly. I feel like the Konflikt folks are more open to something like, hey, let's do this wacky scenario where there's a train or something, you know? As opposed to like, oh, I want to watch the next episode of Play on Tabletop. That's like their competitive missions or something. There's just like a different audience. Alright. Green it is. We're gonna go with what? Shamrock green? This shit's pretty bright. I think it'll work. Did I have another color? No, I think this was the one I used for like my orcs and stuff. It's pretty bright green. Oh, while we're here, I want to paint the skin tone on these other guys, because the paint's literally gonna go dry on me. That's what we need to do. And we can just test out some colors and shit. Yeah, it's called Turnip 28. Dude, Turnip 28 is fucking wild. Okay? After we were starting to figure out, Turnip 28 is one of the most in-depth, like, the way you need to think about movement for retreating and charging and this and that. Like, Turnip 28, like, I thought playing Blood Angels in 40k at a high level was, like, tough, you know what I mean? That is literally 5 times easier than trying to figure out how to get my units not to fucking retreat all over the board in Turnip. It's crazy. We gotta play more Turnip. I think we realized last game that we recorded on Sunday, we're like, this game is fucking wild. We thought it was like, oh yeah, you just move forward and ha ha ha, this, that. But hell no, that Turnip is wild. I would actually go play a Turnip 28 tournament if I was like wanted to play a competitive game. It'd probably be a lot of fun too. Later, I was part of Mordian's stream where he was reading some other parts of the lore and book and stuff. I think they're meant natural ones, because if the Atomic Blast Rift doesn't last that long, then the Green Vault is cooked in the long run. Yeah, but do they... So what? The Green Vault doesn't have atomic weapons? They've infiltrated the whole world, and the only reason the United States, in the first place, in real life, has atomic weapons is because of all of the German scientists. Like, the Soviets took like half of all the technologically and smart and people in Germany, and we took the other half, and that's the reason why we had a freaking arms race in the first place in the 50s for all these rockets and nuclear weapons. So I would imagine they would be able to, like... The Green Hand apparently is everywhere. They probably already have nuclear freaking secrets. They're just not able to build it or something? I feel like the Green Hand can just make their own riffs at some point, right? Like... I don't know. I don't know how it all works, but... From the way it sounds like, alright, it seems like the Green Vault will be alright if they fucking infiltrated everywhere, you know? If it didn't last long, if the man-made ones don't last long in comparison to natural, yeah. But have they talked about natural rifts at all, or what natural rifts are? Is it just like a hole in the fucking ground where there's like, so, you know how like in lore it's like, oh, and that cave it's a bottomless hole in Ireland. They haven't been able to figure out how deep it is or something. Or like like the Bermuda Triangle is rift or something. You gotta go like out in the Caribbean and look for the rift source. What's a natural rift? Or has they not covered that yet, and that's what we're speculating right now? That's probably what it would be. It'd be like those natural phenomenon areas, you know? Like, what's the name of that big or the area in Russia with, like, the meteorological blast and all that, and there's all these, like, weird UFO things going on? Probably, like, shit like that or something. I would imagine, but something about rift near volcano. Interesting. So maybe then it has to do with a massive amount of kinetic energy going off at once, right? Because that's what a freaking nuclear bomb is. Maybe it had. Maybe I thought it had something to do with like nuclear fusion and all that, or whatever, or like something to do with like just the weird nature of nuclear power and all that. But maybe it has to do with like if you get a big enough earthquake, the rift can open up. And maybe that's what happened in the past or something, you know, in history they'll be like, oh, in the Bible, this event was actually the rift caused the flood. Or some shit, you know? Noah's Ark was like, he had on Noah's Ark, they had a bunch of fucking, like, rift cannons. Like, fighting, like, the rift demons. Holy shit! Yeah, Noah's Ark was not what we thought it was. They dulled it down. It was actually the Battle of Noah's Ark, and when the rift creatures came out and flooded the earth, and it was all like kraken monsters. And like Noah had 2 dual RPG rocket launchers on his shoulders, and he was like, dish, dish. Easy. There you go. We figured it out. And do you guys are familiar with like what was that? What's that guy's name? Is it Graham Carlson or something? No, I'm missing the guy's name. There are 2 guys that were always on Joe Rogan. They were talking about, you know, the one guy has that show about ancient history and how he talked about Tobekli Tepe or whatever, you know, 12,500 years ago, which is in Turkey, by the way. Very cool place. My dad's been there, by the way. And yo, what's going on, bruh? Nah, we're doing some miniature paint. We got a second YouTube channel where we cover all tabletop wargaming stuff. But the other guy, I forgot the other guy's name. He's a geologist professor, and he thinks that the flood and all that's talked about in biblical terms was, or they're speculating that, and you know how the Grand Canyon, all these formations out west were caused by a giant, massive ice lake wall breaking up in Canada. Like up in Canada, there was just a giant ice lake at some point, and I think at some point either like a meteor, something happened, who knows what, it broke, and then this like massive crazy flood just came through and like completely changed the geology in the western United States. That's his idea or stuff that he talks about, or hypothesis or something. In most modern day geo, they're like, blah, 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 that never happened or something. But it is very interesting to think about. And that could go back into terms of what was the Bible references as a flood. So that's really interesting. So I wonder, they could do like some sort of cataclysmic natural event, like a meteor landing or something that causes the rift to happen. You know what I mean? That could be the case. That'd be interesting. I believe it might be kinetic energy by natural causes, but the radiation what makes it stick around. So big earthquakes, volcanoes, a meteorological impact. Oh, no, here's something that's funny. Meteors have radiation, right? Because they're from outer space. What if a giant like meteor impact or something? Or if they could utilize, I don't know. There's probably all sorts of weird, cool things they could do. They just need to do enough mushrooms before they write the lore, you know? U.S. Rift, full of angels, Axis. They don't try to understand or explore Rift, but they only get schematics out of it. EOJ is the only faction that tries to figure out what the Rift is. Oh, so are the Axis, like, doing peyote and laying in a dark room and being like, tell me what to build, Rift? Oh, is that what they're doing? They're a bunch of fucking hippies. The Rift will tell us what to do. I know. Let's put tanks on spider legs. Is that what's going on? What's the name of that guy that has that TV show where he goes around and does psychedelics? He's got glasses. I think he was doing it for Vice, but now he's doing it for something else or something. That's the Green Vault. They're all like addicted to psychedelics, and they're like, oh, tell me what to do. Guess we'll see in like 6 years. Yeah. It's like the holiest of holy temples they used to have. One Axis guy goes in there, smokes a joint. Alright, the Rift has spoken. When the Rift talks, I listen. Somebody's like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? We're sure this guy should be in charge. It'd be funny if we just made all of them have different Rift colors, like Skittles. And people be like, that's not how it works. That's not how the Rift works. Shut the fuck up. In my mind, all of the Axis are doing peyote and listening to the Doors on vinyl, trying to figure out what the hell they need to do. Or they're like listening to White Rabbit, you know what I mean, on vinyl. Or they have Inagata Davida on repeat. It's like a fucking 35-minute long vinyl. Inagata Davida. That's how the Axis work in my lore, so. They're like hippie emo kids. I'll just let the Rift tell me what to do. Alright. Alright, this is gonna be green. Try a little green out, eh? Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna get a bunch more lore in the new book, so I'm excited to see. You know what'd be cool is if we mixed up human DNA with a bat. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, dude. They're all fucking just stoned. I'm not arguing against it, alright? I say the US needs to catch up. The US needs to legalize cannabis. And FDR needs to start puffing it too. You know? Because, honestly, the US needs some cooler fucking miniatures, okay? We need some cool shit. Alright? Give me some wacky shit. Have FDR smoke a blunt and get back to the Homeland of Defense or whatever the fuck, the Defense Department. And have him start cranking out some cool shit. What the hell, FDR? By the way, I'm still looking for an FDR miniature. If you guys find an STL. We are gonna have 1,000,000% for Invasion America or some custom video. We are gonna have Super FDR fucking punch some Japanese platoon commander in the face. He's gonna like show up like Superman, like flying in the air with like a cape, like whew. Oh shit, it's FDR. Because if Warlord doesn't have the balls to do it, then I'm gonna do it. Alright? What do the people want? The people want Super FDR. Okay? Give us a goddamn Super FDR mini, and he has to have a cape. Alright? That's my only requirement. He needs to have a cape. And I'll buy 3 of them. I don't think they're ever going to make an FDR mini. That's why we got to do it ourselves. I think they talked about it or something, too. People are like, where's FDR? They're like, you're not getting an FDR mini, bro. So, I want one so bad, though. So I just got to figure it out. I'm going to have to kit bash something or 3D print something. Well, we know from a short story in Festina Europa where Roberto saves a soldier from a Totem Core unit after killing him. It emits green color, mostly. So Axis Rift color is green. Yeah, but you've seen it in all sorts of different colors, right? I've seen Warlord have their stuff painted in various colors. It's not like every Axis unit has to be green, right? And you could just say, oh, yeah. You could say, oh, yeah, it's green. But you could just say that's Colonel von Liechtenstein's Totem Core. But what about Totem Core from another Axis unit like Little Peacock? Maybe they're red. Who knows? And you're saying, well, how the hell could that be? The Green Vault. That's why. The Rift. That's why. That's the cool thing about it, is you can just explain everything from the Rift and the Green Vault and all that. But I agree with you. Green is, I like the green for my Axis. I think it fits great. Yeah, every Rift is different. The lore books. I gotcha. I figured out what you were saying, dude. Shit, you know a hell of a lot more than the lore about me, so I love it when you give me a little information. Yo, what's going on, Ryan? How's it going? Hot in the UK today? Oh, man, yeah, it was pretty hot here today. I got my AC on. It hasn't been terrible, but it's definitely, I think it's probably in the 80s or something. Yesterday was bad. Yesterday, the humidity was so bad, but we're doing all right. We're trying out some different Rift colors for our custom Turkish faction, so we haven't been able to figure out what we like. So we're trying out some different colors on the armor and like weapons to see what'll give us the look. I mean, green does look kind of cool. Skittles, yeah. I honestly think, Rev, I'm starting to lean towards maybe I just paint them all different colors, dude. It's a freaking custom faction. What's somebody gonna tell me? No, no. The Turks actually only have one Rift color. I thought USA blue, Axis green, Russian red, Japanese purple, UK not so sure. The UK has green. I've seen on Tesla cannons, right? On the Percival. I don't think there is a set Rift color. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think there's a set Rift color. I don't think Warlord has like a set Rift color for factions. I've seen their Warlord miniatures painted in all different... We're going to take a look here in a sec. We'll take a look on the website. Let's take a look. I think it's just general colors though, right? Like I agree, the Teslas are blue. I like that, this and that. But I've seen like Axis in all sorts of different colors. Rev's Japanese. Rev uses green for all of his Japanese Rift armor. He said that's how they're supposed to be or something, if I'm not wrong. So I don't think there's a set color on Warlords. Like, I don't think Warlords like, oh, in the lore it has to be this or that. I think they just kind of generally seem to go with certain colors. But I think they leave it open. I don't think it's not like, you know, it's not like where, oh, no, you can't do that. All the Turkish Janissary Corps now with all the colors of the rainbow? Hell yeah, exactly. Are the Turks in K-47, would they buy Russians too? What do you mean by buy Russians? What do you call it? The Turks are in K-47. They are not officially in K-47 like a playable unit that have custom stats. But if you look in Festina Europa, Turkey got taken over by the Axis. And in first edition, there were photos and artwork of Turkish panzer mechs fighting with the Axis. So we decided to take this information, being that I'm half Turkish, my father's Turkish, and I'm very proud of it. And I said, screw that. We're starting a Turkish custom army, so these are custom units. This is a Janissary unit, and they're going to be fighting. Oh, buy Russian hardware, small arms. So that's the thing. We did some research. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's take a look at the green here in a sec. Let me show you guys this real quick, and then we'll talk about the stuff. Hold on. So here's the green. Now, I didn't put it on the gun, but you get the idea. In fact, wait, can we hit the gun real quick? Yeah, so the Turks did have a bunch of Russian equipment in World War II, but a lot of it fucking sucked. And they got a bunch of free shit from the Germans, like Panzer IIIs and IVs, and then they got a bunch of free tanks from the Americans and the Brits. And they ended up declaring war on Germany because Churchill and everybody, they wanted to use Turkey as a stopgap to stop the Axis from making their way towards all the oil in the Middle East. So that's the real lore. They did end up buying Russian tanks. But it was like shitty T-23s or something. They were outdated by World War II. They were like, only had one medium machine gun or something on it. I forget. And it was like, it was not a very good tank at all. So I think the Russians just sold it to the Turks because they probably just didn't want them anymore. And the Turks got them. They were like, these things fucking suck. War is completely changed in the short amount of time. And they ended up getting a bunch of free stuff from both the Axis and the Allies because both were trying to win over the Turks to get them to join their side. Here's the green, by the way. Actually looks pretty sick. Actually looks kind of cool. Dude, alright, we're just going to keep painting them random colors. I guess all of the Janissaries are just going to be... They're all just going to be random riff colors. Yeah, huge chunk of the lore is just work in project. True. So... yeah, I did a ton of research, and that's how we determine the colors and what the Turkish troops look like and all that. But the way I'm picturing it is they're going to be using a ton of Axis equipment because let's be honest, in the lore they've taken over Axis. I mean, Turkey is now part of the Green Vault territory, so they're probably what we've seen in the first edition. They're already using the Turks as Axis soldiers. Like they do in other places when Germany would take over in World War II, they would just take, able-bodied men and have them join the military or whatever and fight for them. So that being said, I like to picture that they probably have a bunch of German equipment in terms of firearms, maybe Gewers, Kar 98s, MP40s, leftover stuff from World War II now that they're giving to the Turks because they're now equipping them, and probably things like Spinas and Panzer IIIs, Panzer IVs, but nothing like crazy. They're not giving them Schwerfield cannons and freaking brand new Panzer mechs. They're giving them the leftover shit, because it's not their main force. It's a country they took over. So I have Spinas, I have like assault rifles and this and that, but no real crazy Rift cannons like Schwerfield cannons, no Tesla guns, nothing crazy like that. So what we decided to do is we gave them, they're going to have a special rule where they're using alchemy, and they're going to have alchemy infused like ammo and guns and armor. So the whole idea is they're using small arms, and they're using medium anti-tank cannons, and they're using auto cannons, all the basic weapons of World War II that are kind of like semi-outdated now with Rift technology, but they're developing Rift ammunition. So they're like somehow using alchemy to like imbue the Rift into like gunpowder and into the rounds themselves. So that way the rounds, you can use older weapons, but you can use Rift ammo. So that's their adaptation to try and catch up in the arms race. And whether the Axis are helping them do this, or whether the Turks are doing this on their own to try and then overthrow the Axis or something like that. So that's our kind of idea. What do you call it? So they're kind of using alchemy, and they're using older weapons, but with like newer ammo that they've developed to try and deal with the modern day threats. You know what I mean? I don't know. They were using all sorts of stuff. We could take a look real quick. I actually have an image. Let me catch up with you guys, though. Good, but almost too much. Still thinking bright purple like lavender. We did have one T-36, one of those land ships, the huge one that was, that one was useful. I actually think we might still get bio-modified soldiers, considering the location advantage the country has. What are you talking about with the Turks? Well, we have bio-modified soldiers in the form of paragons, right? Do the Turkish have any homemade traditional kit like the Enfield or the Berettas? I'm not certain in World War II. They might have been using... we can actually take a look. World War II era Turkish weapons. Here we go. This is what I was using for a lot of it. So they had T-26s, T-27s. Yeah, these are the ones they bought from the Soviets before World War II. They had T-28. They had Panzer IIIs. They were gifted. Both Axis and Western allies in 1943 gifted tanks to Turkey to try and get them to join their side. So Panzer IIIs, Panzer IVs. They had Valentines. They had 200 Valentines from 41 and 44. Vickers 6-ton, and they had 34 Shermans delivered in 45. As well as a good amount of British Stuarts as well. Universal carriers. So for the rifles, it's really a mix of all sorts of stuff. They had Mausers, Gewers. There was the Ottoman Mauser, which is probably, I'm assuming the Mausers are probably one of like the main weapons they had for like most of their troops. And then they did have some VZs, and like I guess they probably had some Nagants and M1 carbines probably later on. I'm assuming that they got, but I'm assuming it's probably the Mausers. We'll probably pick one of the Mausers. Probably the Mauser 1903 or something. It was a Gewehr pattern bolt action designed for the Ottoman army. I'm assuming that's probably... It looked like they used a lot of Mausers. I don't know if they actually produced them in Turkey, though, or if they were all imported. That being said, though, they also have light machine guns. Did they have some Italian ones, or no? Oh, they had the show shot. Dude, this thing's crazy. Have you guys seen the Forgotten Weapons episode on this thing? Isn't this it was French, but I think the Egyptians used it too, right? Oh shit, they had bars. The MGs, the 34. Czechoslovakian. And they had a German 1916. They didn't have the state-of-the-art stuff. Oh, they were produced in Turkey, okay. That is true. The Ottoman leftover Mauser at the time was most common. Yeah. Tesla Shermans or Stuarts then, yeah. So there's multiple ways of going about it, right? Yeah, they even had Maxims and shit. I think there's photos of them with, like Vickers and Maxims, if you can find. They used a lot of, like, French... They really used a lot of random shit. German, French, Soviet, and American weapons. What was I gonna say? Oh, so the Shermans with the Teslas. I was gonna do... There was, like, 3 ways I could have done it. You could just play them as an Axis army, and you just name the units different, right? We can make a custom faction with all brand new custom stuff. That's the way we're doing it. The other option was just play them as an allied army, kind of like the Italians, where you could just say that there are resistance fighters in Turkey. And now you can still all do all that. There's nothing to say that I can't take a Sherman and play it as, you know, and just play as, like, the Americans or the Italians or something like that. You know what I mean? But, that being said, I think the most reasonable thing to do, the easiest way to play them, would just play them as an Axis army, because you have Schwertruppen for the Djinns. We already have tons of, like, and it makes the most sense because they're taken over by the Axis. So they're going to be giving them, like, Panzer IIIs, maybe old Spinnas and stuff. But I kind of wanted to go the next step and do a custom faction. So, in fact, I'll give you a quick little look. It's been a while since we've updated it, but where's my notes? Here we go. We do have custom... we'll give you guys a little teaser. These aren't... these are not final in any way, shape, or form. But... Where is it? There you go. So the Janissaries. I don't know the points. I made up points and stuff, but we'll still have to see. But I made them 24 points each veteran. They're going to be damage value 6 at veteran with their alchemical armor. 5 to 10 man unit. Active rift. They have master crafted ammo. So the way the alchemical ammunition rule works, I think we're going to essentially just... I think it's like if they get a 6, then they get an additional pen. Or they get pen. So there's not necessarily that sort of mechanic in Conflict, but if you roll a 6 to hit, then you get an extra pen. So it's kind of like some one-page rules keywords. Their active rift ability is the base pen goes from +1, or they have +1 pen for their guns, but it goes up to if they roll a 6, it goes up to +2 pen. Their surging bonus, they can ignore cover. This is something we came up with on stream. We don't know if it's going to be final. And if they're exhausted, then they lose all benefits of the army rule of alchemical ammunition. So the whole idea is the whole army has alchemical ammunition, or at least the specialized units. So maybe not the regular basic infantry troops if they're equipped with Mausers and stuff. I still don't know if I might do it. I don't know. But the idea is for the whole army firing their alchemical weapons and stuff, and maybe even a melee, if you get a 6, you get additional pen on your attack. So that's one of the main army rules. Let's see what else. Yeah, they got some shotguns and stuff. We have the dervishes, which are going to be like a crazy, fast-moving infiltrator unit. But that's very easy to kill, because if you know anything about whirling dervishes, they're badass. We have our cavalry unit, which I got to figure out how to pronounce this. Seren Jesse or something? I don't know. But essentially it means, like, in Turkish, it's like the guys who were committed to the charge. Like, these cavalry riders in the Ottoman Empire would just charge into combat, and they would not retreat. They would just freaking fight to the death or something, or they were just the most badass cavalry riders in the Ottoman Empire. There's also another group called the Crazies, apparently my dad told me about, in Turkish. Where there was another unit of cavalry dudes that were out of their mind or something. I don't know. But so they have the cavalry unit, they have good riders, and we have to figure out if we're keeping the cavalry ability and all that for our guys. Because I need mounted units, dismounted units, there's so much, you know. Please don't hate me, but I think Warlord should focus on 5 existing factions and work on them first. Oh, yeah. I 100%. I don't think they should, they shouldn't come out with custom factions until all 5 factions they got them in a place where they like them. And of course they could do that over time, but, now here's the thing, right? They can find a middle ground, okay? To kind of talk about what Ryan's talking about too. What they can do is they can come up with platoons in the meanwhile. They don't have to come up with an entire army, right, for the Chinese, let's say. But maybe what they could do is they could come up with a platoon for the Brits or for the Americans or something. Or they could always do like an Italian platoon, a specialized platoon to give some more flavor in the meanwhile. Because I will say, if you're an Italian player, you kind of got screwed in, what do you call it? You kind of got screwed. Because there were Italian platoons and stuff in the first edition, and now there's not. So, what do you call it? But I totally get what you're saying. I think they should get all the factions to where they like it, and it doesn't need to be... Look, I'm also saying it doesn't need to be super competitive, hyper balanced or whatever, but just get them to where they're happy with them, and then they can start branching out, you know. But I think they're doing a good job with it. So, parachuting other factions risk somehow Palpatine returned. The only thing I will say is that the neighbor countries for the 5 factions would be also good to flesh out. Yeah, no, of course, that's where I think platoons can come into play. You can have a Hungarian platoon, a Finnish platoon, right? Oh yeah, that's why we love Conflict, dude. It's, what do you call it? That's what we're here for. It's all just good times. But don't forget, Italy already exists in 3 lists. What do you mean, like 3 factions, I guess you could say, for the Axis in the U.S.? Is that what you mean? Something tells me someone from the Warhammer community. Yeah. All right, chat. we're gonna keep on working here. We've been chit-chatting. I am gonna grab a new cup of tea, though, because I'm out. So, let's us take a quick little break here, and we'll keep on streaming for a little bit longer. When is, Morty usually goes live at 5 or something? What time is it? How long have we been streaming? An hour and 40? Okay, yeah, we can stream longer. I need to get this freaking new battle report done, which is coming out tomorrow, so I just gotta make sure I give myself enough time. We're good, though. And we've been listening to my damn Turkish riff for so long. Let's end that. And we'll swap back over AoE. Alright. Yeah. The British American and accent. I totally get it. I think that's why the platoons are sick. I love the platoons. I'm so happy about the Firefly platoon, the Totenrot platoon, the automated platoon. We're probably going to see some sort of ghost platoon, I really hope. And then maybe some sort of platoon for the Russians as well, the Soviets. But I think that will give them the opportunity, like in first edition Konflikt, to give, when they're ready, to give an Italian platoon for the Americans or the Axis and be able to give them the flavor that they want or something like that. You know what I mean? Or, for instance, do a Finnish platoon for the Axis. Dude, Finland was like a huge part of World War II and all that. The Finns are, I'm assuming the Finns are fighting the Soviets again, right? Now that the Soviets are like full scale kind of fighting everybody. So who knows? There's so many cool fronts. They also, if you guys haven't, I highly recommend checking out Cinematic Tabletop's video. I was gonna like skim through it, but I didn't want to, I don't know him personally, so I would like to get permission before watching someone's content on stream. But in his new video, he goes over the Invasion America book, all right? We already know the Ursus platoon is coming, all right? It's okay. He went over and talked about China and how they're kind of hinting at what's going on with China, and that, you know, for instance, in bolt action, they have, you know, all the bolt action dudes are like, man, we would love some more Chinese miniatures and stuff about China, because the Japanese were fighting, and then you had a freaking civil war going on in China. There's so many cool things you could do. So there's a lot of cool stuff that they could do, where maybe they could just do a platoon in the meanwhile before a couple years from now when they come out with a new expansion covering Southeast Asia or something, you know? I'm not really familiar with First Ed as much with Second Ed. Not as many did K-47 content. Yeah. On the IP either. And the first edition books cost €70 for some reason. Oh yeah, that didn't help. I think they've done a good job. I would love some Chinese troops to fight against the Japanese. Okay, I've mentioned this before. You guys need to fucking check this channel out. Hold on. I've mentioned it, okay? And nobody said they did their homework, and I'm kind of pissed off, okay? We talked about it. Type 56. Type 56 history. This is your guys' homework, okay? This fucking guy right here is one of my favorite new YouTube channels. Okay, he's a professor in California. When I first saw this, I'm like, this is some sort of communist shill, Chinese propaganda, CCP-backed U.S. content, right? Because there is a lot of shit like that on the internet. But this guy is just a really good professor who loves the history of the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, and that's what he covers in his academic work. So it's so good, though. But just learning about the history of the PLA, I didn't know much about them, but just learning about them fighting the Japanese, they were, you know, obviously fighting the U.S. in Korea. Then they were fighting they were helping the Vietnamese in Vietnam, and they were fighting the French in Vietnam. But what I didn't know, China freaking invaded Vietnam in the 70s at some point, or in the 60s, and they fought in Vietnam for like 20 years, on and off. And there was like some terrible, terrible blunders by the PLA, but there was also some really good victories and stuff. But it's really interesting. Some of my favorite videos that he's covered is just like infantry fighting tactics of the PLA, and like how they would like use micro terrain to navigate they would like work their way up to a Japanese position or an American position in Korea. The PLA, they didn't have modern day technology and weapons and air superiority or anything, but what they used micro terrain and small infantry tactics. They would launch an assault and then they would have a like a diversionary attack on one angle, and then they already had a bunch of PLA soldiers sneaking up behind the Americans on a hill somewhere, and they'd throw like 100 grenades. They rush in and bayonet people, and like Chinese soldiers only shot 3 bullets in their entire training, and then they went into Vietnam and were fighting with like 1950s guns in 1970. It was crazy. So yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. I've been painting a bunch of miniatures while watching them, so really good channel, super high quality channel. Highly recommend it. So I did not know that I needed so much information about the PLA in the 40s and 50s and stuff, but it's, you know, what's really interesting is how all of history is like so tied together in human history, and like literally World War I, World War II. I got to do some research, but I've heard Shane Gillis mention it, so it has to be right. There's like some events that happened in the U.S. Civil War that completely kicked off later on, ended up leading to the start of World War I, that led to the start of World War II, and it also led to all of these colonies and stuff falling apart. It's interesting how history is all tied together with strings, you know what I mean? And I don't know. That's one of my favorite things is history and learning about, you know, different points in history, and particularly wars and stuff, but not just wars, but also just like political stuff, like the Roman Empire and all that, and how, you know, Caligula changed the Roman Empire forever because he was such a goddamn psychopath. They were like, we can never have that happen again, you know? If you want some more PLA, NRA stuff, not an academic, what's that? Did I mention it? Or did you mention it? Oh, you got some more PLA info stuff? Have you checked out Armor Italia? No. Is that another YouTube channel? Let's take a look. I gotta get some tea here in a sec, but... Oh, it is a channel. Oh, no, I haven't. And I'm telling you, any non-AI history channel, I'm here for it. So I'm gonna drop a sub. I'll check them out. This kind of looks right up my alley. Oh yeah. Dude, the Italians had some crazy shit happen in World War II as well. Some crazy shit. Cool, man. Thank you for mentioning it. It's all good stuff. That's my exact sort of stuff I like watching while I'm editing videos and stuff. The main characters related to people who suffered under the PLA or NRA. I don't remember which. I will say, yeah, so what do you... It's a few snapshots of the experience, not an academic study. I still don't get what you're referencing, though, Nix. Like, are you referencing a YouTube channel or a book or something? Yeah, the Chinese Civil Wars were fucked. Dude, by the end of the Chinese Civil Wars, they were doing stuff that both sides did not want to ever remember ever again. That's one thing you learn. Civil Wars, dude. Civil Wars get personal. Who would have thought Civil Wars get personal? But yeah. Even the United States Civil War was messed up, but learning about other civil wars like the Revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution, or the Chinese Civil Wars, dude, they were like not good. Not good at all, to say the least. This documentary's on all the vehicles? Okay, very nice. I'll have to check it out then. Yo, what's going on, Cosmic? How's it going, dude? Oh, let's take a look. Make sure you guys post anything in the Discord if you want. We'll take a look here when we get back at Cosmic. He posted some painting updates. All right, chat. I got to grab a cup of tea because I've been blabbering over here forever. Oh, it's called Three Body Problem, a book Netflix series. Okay, I'll have to check it out. I think we do have Netflix still, even though I never use that stuff anymore. All right, chat, we're going to take a quick little break here. I'm going to leave you guys with some music and our little away screen, and I'll be back in just a second. We're going to keep on painting some Turks and probably just chatting and going over some conflict stuff as well. So, appreciate you folks hanging out. That classic AOE soundtrack, whew, can't beat it. All right, chat, I'll be back in just a moment. Appreciate it. Post something in the Discord if you want me to take a look. We'll take a look here when I get back. Man, it's actually cold in here. It's crazy. So, I don't know if any of you guys are rock fans or what, or music fans. But does anyone know something special happened last night? Something special happened last night. Does anyone know what happened in the rock world? I'm curious if you guys heard about it. It happened locally here. And my buddy actually went to go see the show. But do you guys know what happened last night? It came out of nowhere. And it hasn't happened in God knows how many years. Does anyone know what happened? I just saw Cinematic Tabletop's review of Invasion of Mary. It looks like they included a skirmish-sized scenario. I know, that's what we talked about. The first scenario is 300 points of Ghost. Which I think they're going to be... I don't think it's going to be 1 unit of Ghost, but maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Just the eclipse last night. Do you have any Turkish YouTube recommendations? I actually don't. I don't know anything. I've been to Turkey many times. My father's Turkish. I love Turkish music and stuff, but I don't really know anything offhand. I'll have to ask my dad. But I don't know any Turkish history channels, if that's what you're asking. So last night, Deep Purple played. Okay? I've seen Deep Purple back in 2004 or 2006 in high school, and they were sick. They had Steve Morse playing guitar. But fucking Richie Blackmore has a house on Long Island in Huntington. Okay, I live on Long Island, New York. Deep Purple played at Jones Beach last night, okay? And they announced it last night. Richie Blackmore fucking played with Deep Purple. And the first time in, I don't know, how long's it been now? 30, 40 years or something since he quit? So, my dad told me, my buddy texted me, and my buddy's like, you hear Richie Blackmore's playing with Deep Purple in Jones Beach? I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. Because Richie Blackmore is my dad's favorite guitar player. I play guitar as well. And then my buddy texted me at 11:30 last night. He's like, my bass player, because my buddy's in a band. He's like, my bass player got a ticket. And he sent me a video. I'll show you guys. Of fucking Richie Blackmore playing Smoke on the Water. But I found out. I was like, dude, he fucking went to go see it. He's so lucky. But, because you'll never see that ever again. Richie Blackmore playing with Deep Purple. That'll never happen again. But, apparently, I think he just played one song, Smoke on the Water. But, that's Richie Blackmore. Apologies, because my phone's fucking friends, he filmed it terribly. But that's Richie Blackmore right there playing Smoke on the Water on stage last night. The first time in how many years? I can't turn my phone because it'll change. He filmed it in the literal worst way possible. But I don't want to get copy strike, but apparently he only played one song, so I don't know if he's got some sort of health thing going on or something, because people were like, dude, why is he not playing fucking Space Truckin' or Highway Star? But I don't know. I'm wondering, because he like infamously was like, fuck Deep Purple, this and that. He left. I wonder if he wanted to get one jam and, you know, he's getting older now or something. But anyways, I wanted to share that. That was so fucking cool. Deep Purple's been one of my favorite bands for a long time. Fucking Burn, all that. But, so that was a super legendary moment that just randomly happened out of nowhere. Nobody knew that Richie Blackmore was coming back for one night or something. But I think he only played one song, so I don't feel that terrible for not being there. But, anyways, I wanted to mention it. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. That looks really cool, the skirmish stuff. I don't have any, I'll have to ask my dad. But are you talking about, like, history? Like what we were just talking about? Or are you talking about just in general, like music and stuff? Or I love Turkish music, by the way. That's one of my favorite things about Turkish culture. Other than the food as well. Alright. So let's take a look. Where are we at? We have the Skittles. Skittle Janissaries. Which riff color do you like, chat? God, I can't even hold them. The cats? What's that? Turkish cats? We used to have a Turkish van, it's called. which we moved to a house. This is the first house my parents got when I was a little kid, and one of our neighbors had like a party. They were all like high school students, and in the morning we wake up and there's a kitten sitting on our front porch in a box. And apparently we figured out that they had a party. Someone like left a kitten at this high school party, and then they figured that we could take care of it, so they just left this kitten on our porch. It turns out the cat is a freaking Turkish breed called the Turkish Van, which is one of the only known cat breeds in the world to regularly enjoy going in the water, apparently. They like going in the water, and like they would hunt for fish and stuff. Like really cool cats. Beautiful white with brown, or beautiful white with like a rust colored striping and stuff. That was the most badass cat we had in the world. She was outdoors. She would kick every other cat's ass, never had scratches on her. You would hear the cats fighting. God knows what she did to the other ones. And then she would kill, she decimated the local wildlife. I felt so bad, but we learned that later on. Probably not the best thing. But she fucking killed rabbits, every type of bird. This is why cats are so detrimental to local wildlife and fauna. And she even fucking had an owl in her mouth once. She had a screech owl in her mouth. I'll never forget this. We were like, we cannot let this cat outside anymore. She is killing everything in the area. It was the most badass cat I've ever had. And fortunately, she got hit by a car. Rip. Rest in pieces. But awesome cats, by the way. Yeah, the green looks cool. I don't know about the green, though. Let's take a look one at one. I can't hold 4 of them at the same time. Purple pink looks good with the red. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. You lived in Cyprus for 3 years, so you visited both sides a lot. The history fascinates me. Dude, Cyprus, the history in Cyprus is crazy. The history between the Greeks and the Turks. They hated each other for years, and I'm sure there's still a lot of animosity. But nowadays, it's much more civil, obviously. But it's funny, I grew up in high school, you know, one of my best friends was Greek, and I'm Turkish, so all we would do is make fun of each other for being Greek and Turkish. But we did say, you're Turkish, I'm Greek. You know, he said we should start we'll call it the Mediterranean Alliance. And that's what we did. We started something called the Mediterranean Alliance. Just smoked a lot of good weed. There's the purple. I mean, the red looks interesting, I'm not going to lie, but it doesn't really stick out that much. But it is subtle, right? You know, it's not like... It's safe, I guess you could say. But it doesn't... You can't really see it, like, sticking out, right? And, I'm not going to lie, the pink does look sick. I think the pink's kind of my favorite. This is a mix of pink and purple. Yeah, the red looks like it's part of the uniform, right? Totally. That's why it kind of just looks like it's trim. I think we're going to have to go with the pink, but I don't know if I think I'm going to do it in this way, where it's like only certain areas have it, and maybe not raised everywhere. Yeah, I don't know. After doing all of them, I kind of like going back to the pink color, to be honest with you. But maybe just a little more subtle. Yeah, the pink-purple gives the Rift travel vibes, yep. Yeah, I mean, we could try blue, we could try a bunch of different colors, but after doing all these colors, I think this one kind of seems like the most reasonable. But I do need to figure out a way of doing it tasteful. I feel like this might be a little too overboard the way I did it here. You know what I mean? Maybe just a little less. Alright. Well, it's funny. I did all that, and I'm like, I don't know if I like that. Let me try different colors. And we tried all the different colors, and we went back to the original color. It's funny how that works, huh? Alright. Well, it works, though. I like it. So that's going to be the main Rift color, I think, then. And then we got our cavalry boys. I got to paint the armor for all these guys. I don't know. I want to give the horses some rift armor. Maybe I'll make their eyes. Maybe I could, like, do some of the armor on it. All right. Well, I think I kind of like the. I think I kind of like the pink, and it is. We did buy this paint specifically for this. I will say though, this was very, very like pink. We dulled it down with. We actually mixed it with purple paint, so I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna mix it with purple, and then I can always go back over and power node hit some of the other areas or something with some more white, for instance. All right. All right. Well, we got there in the end. We figured it out in the end eventually. Is there a way of bringing Totem Core to Turkey? How would you implement that? I don't know. See, here's the thing. I should go downstairs to the basement and grab the 2 new units. I don't think you guys have actually seen them yet. We have a Shrek-Wolfen unit called Jinn, which are essentially ghosts, Jinn ghosts. We have our Whirling Dervishes. We have the Janissaries, and then we have the Cavalry. There is a way we could probably do Totem Core, but a lot of the army that I made and the units are based off of like real Turkish history and real units or like mythology. Like Jinn are part of his, are ghosts or evil spirits in Islam, and in particularly in Sufism, which the whole army is very much so based around Sufism, with the Whirling Dervishes. In Sufism, it's like the collective sort of like bad nature and evil ambitions of humans, like mixed in with spirits and stuff like that. So I looked in Turkish mythology, and there's like all sorts of different things, but they don't have a ton of they don't have like werewolves and all this stuff in their mythology. And they had like not cyborgs, they had what's the name of the one-eyed creature? Cyclopses. So we do have the Tepegauze Light Walker with a big main gun for the eye. But they didn't have anything to do with like, undead and stuff. It doesn't mean that we can't have a Totem Core like unit, but a lot of the stuff I did was heavily inspired off of like real Turkish mythology and stuff. So I'm sure there's some way I could find something in Turkish history that you could tie into like Totem Core. But maybe the Turks are like, we're not messing with that shit, bro. That shit ain't haram. All right. They're like, we don't want to fuck with Totem Core. Like, I don't think Allah would be happy with that. You know what I mean? That we're doing that sort of shit. So, and I feel like the Jinn, even though they're evil spirits, I like to think that the Sufis, this army is like Sufis, that they've captured the Jinn and they're using them as like a unit to fight, but they're not like embracing the evil side, because it's not like, you got to realize like jinns and stuff is not just like regular ghosts in our Western culture. Like a ghost is like somebody that died, right? And that's their spirit. Jinns can also be like fucking demons and shit. So when people get possessed, for instance, like here or with like the Catholic Church or Christianity, I guess they could also be possessed by demons, but like jinns kind of like blend together like human spirit and like demon type stuff. I don't know. It's they treat it differently depending on different cultures in different areas of the world. But yeah, jinns are demons, but it also, the way Sufism kind of thinks about it is, it's not necessarily the ghost of a dead person, but it's like the kind of evil ambitions and stuff of a person. Yeah, never trust a jinn. Jinn trick you. They're like the devil essentially, but they're like spirits, if you will. That's why they have those evil eyes. You see the Greek and the Turkish evil eyes? That's to stop jinn, essentially. So they'll try and trick you in Turkish history or in Turkish like lore of jinns, or even just in Islam. You're not supposed to jump over puddles, because a jinn can be in puddles. You're not supposed to jump over puddles. You're not supposed to whistle at night. Okay, you whistle at night, you're gonna get a fucking jinn possessing you, so watch out. And these are actually things I still will jump over puddles, but I swear to God, I stopped whistling at night. My dad, like, scared the shit out of me as a kid. He's like, you do never whistle at night. I'm like, oh, fuck. He, like, yelled at me one day. The last thing you never do is you never clip your fingernails or toenails at night. Don't ask me why, but apparently they can possess your ass doing that as well. So I never clip my fingernails or toenails at night, and I never whistle at night. I probably still jump over some puddles because, let's be honest, you kind of have to, but in the real world. But yeah, eyes of Turkish horses glow in the dark due to rift. How do they achieve that? We make rift set salad blocks, and then salt blocks, and then they have it. Exactly. See, Klovek, you get it. When in doubt, just blame the rift. You know what I mean? Hey, why is your horse's eyes glowing? The rift. That's why. Salt blocks. You ever think of rift-infused salt blocks? Salt licks? Or maybe the carrots were grown in rift-infused soil. I just love the rift being like a blank fuck you to anyone's question. Yeah, it's a rift. Alright. Okay, very nice. That being said, we got those. So I got to work on that. I wish I had the djinns and dervishes up here to show you guys. I did print 3 more djinns. I printed more janissaries and all that. We do it here. I'll just show you what we have up here, in case you guys missed some of it. We are going to be making another video going over some of the units, but we have spinners. So we got 2 spinners here. Yeah, but it's daytime, Cosmic. You're fine. You're allowed to clip your nails and toenails. You just can't do it at night. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to get infected by demons. Easy. So we do have some spinners here. And these are 3D printed by Rev, but this top turret was the official Warlord one from the starter set. You've done them all at night? I mean, I'm not going to lie. That might explain why your paint desk looks the way it does. Rift horse or rift armor. You could paint the scales of the body armor, make a few different colors. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. It's not that the horse's eyes are actually glowing. It's like the armor or something. I don't know. Or the horse's eyes glow, because that is kind of cool. But we have our spinners. We have our Tepigaz Lightwalker, which this thing is sick. This is one of my favorite things about the army. Because we made... This is one of my favorite things. It's like fucking, what's her name? In Alien, when she's using that, like... You know the Sentinel walkers they use in the guard to, like, pick up, like, equipment in, like, a hangar bay? And you know how Ridley, or what's her name, was fighting the alien in that thing? That's kind of like this thing. It's got stall troop and arms with, like, control sticks that I made. Oh, it also has a cock machine gun, I forgot to mention. But it's got these stall troop and arms that have, like, struts attached to them, and they're attached to this big arm. So instead of the dude's arm being inside the walker, he's got, like, like a walker forklift. Exactly. You gotta have the cock machine gun. It's actually mandatory, me and Cosmic have determined. So, is that a good stuff cannon strapped to the walker? I don't know what this is. This is just some sort of anti-tank gun that we put on there. So, it's kind of just random. Yeah, it's cocked and loaded at all times, dude. Hell yeah. I think Cosmic was like, you gotta put the machine gun on the cock or something. I forgot what happened. It was definitely inspired by Cosmic, alright? We got our horses here for our cavalry. And I think I do want to print 10 more, or 4 more horses, so we end up having 10 cavalry in total. You know, I still haven't figured out, am I gonna have to have dismounted and mounted? Because I could just take my dismounted troops and use them as janissaries. But technically, the way cavalry works, if you want to, like, get off and assault a building or something, you have to get off your horses. So I do need to figure out how I want to handle that. So we got our cavalry, we have our walkers, we have our custom walker, we have our janissaries, we have whirling dervishes and djinns. And then, not to mention, we took a box of Italians black shirts and printed a bunch of Ottoman heads to give them that Turkish look. So we have a bunch of converted Italian miniatures for Turkish basic infantry. I'll tell you right now, one of my favorite things to do in Conflict is just play with your everyday human. That's why we're doing the Adventures of Jerry. But I love having just regular infantry. I just want regular infantry. I know they didn't want Conflict to look like bolt action. I kind of like it to where it's half bolt action, half Conflict. That's kind of how I like playing the game personally. A lot of the games that I played early on with the Americans were 2 units of Fireflies, 3 units of Paragons, a Tesla Sherman, a linebacker, and, you know, a platoon commander. Like 8-9 units, all rift, all badass, all almost meta, essentially, in terms of how good they are. For the Americans, at least. And just play like that. But, the more I've played Conflict, the more I'm like, I want, like, a 10-man unit infantry, a 10-man unit infantry, not only to, like, score objectives and just do stuff, because it is nice having more units, but it also kind of makes sense. Like, they don't have a ton of Fireflies, Paragons, they're totally going to be mixed in. So it is cool seeing early on, a lot of the Conflict artwork that we saw in terms of photos, which I'll show you some, because I use them in videos, for instance, but like this. Like, a lot of this early on Conflict artwork that we saw is all Rift units and all specialized advanced infantry units. Fireflies, Walkers, right? You guys like this? Mike Ross. But what we're also seeing is like, or kind of like this, right? You know, where it's all pretty much Conflict units. But in the books, we're seeing a lot of cool artwork from Invasion America, where it's just regular dudes. There's a lot of basic infantry in a lot of the new photos in Invasion America, which I really like. Because early on, I think their ideas, they didn't want it, you know, I think Mornian talked about it. They didn't want it to be like bolt action. They wanted it to be a different game. But I think what they've realized is people like playing with their bolt action units in Conflict, just like me, so. And it's World War II. Just a couple years later, of course you're going to have basic infantrymen, you know? I like it that way too. I want to have a gravity cannon flatten a horde of Soviet conscripts. Exactly, it's way more fun, dude. It's our little homebrew country units. Mike Ross, yeah. Mike Ross. For years. By the way, I've streamed fly tying on Twitch for 9 years now, I think it's been. It's my affiliate anniversary, by the way. And does it tell me how long it is? How long I've been an affiliate? No. 96 months is how long I've been an affiliate. So what is that? 8 years or something? What's 96 months? I'm not doing the math. You guys do it for me. But that being said, I've been streaming fly tying for that long on Twitch. And every Friday night, what we would do, because I streamed three times a night for a while, or even more, fly tying. That's 7 years. Okay. So I've been an affiliate for 7 years. I streamed for about a year before that. So yeah, about 8 years. Or it is 8. Okay, so I've been streaming for 9 years. I've been an affiliate on Twitch for 8 years. On Friday nights, I should say, Mike Ross would show up. It's not me in a wig. It's my cousin, Mike Ross. And he would come and tie flies like Bob Ross, essentially. So that's where that photo came from, in case you guys were wondering. Thinking about it now, though, man, Mike Ross would probably do a great job painting some miniatures. Just saying. Maybe for the future. All right. Oh, something I wanted to do. Hold on, give me a sec. Let's take a look. Yeah, everybody loved Mike Ross. And they keep asking when Mike Ross is coming back. He probably will come back on Friday nights. But he may also show up for some miniature painting one day. I did want to point out, they have a sale on Warlord's website for these really kick-ass dragon and like like Camelot miniatures. I don't think I'll get it, but for $100, it's not that bad for all these guys in this gigantic dragon. Like, this could be probably used in like Old World. I mean, God, this would make one hell of a D&D BBEG, right? But these are pretty cool. This guy looks sick. Yeah, they are pretty sick. I did want to point that out, though. They do have a sale going on. I mean, $63. If I had some money laying around, I'd probably grab this. I just want this guy right here. This guy looks so cool. I want to make like a freaking D&D character around this guy. You shall not pass. Just maybe like a knockoff Gandalf or something. I mean, $30 for this dragon is pretty fucking good, dude. Say screw you to GW and just use this in Old World or something. And what's the base size on this? Oh, it's 130 millimeter. Okay. That thing is sick, dude. You got a badass chick on top of it too. I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to show it off. Our local meta has normal shot munchers trying to grab objectives still. We did go full rift at first, but settled on a little bit of normal after a while. Yeah, I think that's what I was like, full rift, let's go, woohoo! Because it's cool, but then you realize, yeah, you do need some... I mean, I'm going to say it. Like, basic infantry guys aren't that cheap either. Like, 100 points for 10 regular rifle dudes. Not really that cheap, but they are very valuable, I think. You know what I mean? In terms of scoring stuff. So, I did see they are... Warlord Games got their Invasion America, like their main stock of books in. I think Ganon showed it. I guess let's take a look at the Discord. Yeah. What's today? Okay, we gotta go a little ways back. I think it was... When was the last stream? I don't even remember. I think this is the last thing we looked at on stream. Was this. I remember this, the trains. The train set somebody had printed out on eBay. So let's see, we got Derelict. Which I forgot what he's using these for. They look sick, though. Oh, Paragons. Yeah. He's using AdMech cowboy hats with some other body he mentioned. They look really sick. Yo, Frosty, what's going on, brother? They do look really good. And Cosmic, he had a great game with the stall trooping. A lot of ups and downs, like the Fireflies making my Railgun Panther foobar panic off the board. Everybody laugh at Cosmic. It happens to the best of us. And the Bohemian Barking Spider fighting a tank in combat, finally getting a chance to blast it with flamethrower, scaring the crew out of the thing. Very cool. There's Cosmic's creations right there, which I love. What am I missing? The first edition Soviet box is exactly that. I feel like 40 Warlord Soviets, and I feel like that box was so much better. Yeah, I will say, though basic infantry are so cheap, a box of 30 infantry, I kind of don't want them putting the basic infantry in the boxes. I want the specialized stuff, and then $40, $50, you can get the full infantry box. So, but I get what you're saying. Forgot about gravity cannon artillery being a thing. That's 3K TL. What is a stable economy right now? 25 points for Japanese spear fighters, though. You never feel like you have enough points, do you? True. Absolutely true. The man, Age of Empires music brings proper memories back. English longbow spent. Oh, is that what you were playing the Britons? I'm a Magyar player. I do the Scout Rush, and then I haven't played in a little while, but I just got good enough to where I could beat the Extreme AI, and played a couple ranked and had both guys quit in Feudal Age for some reason, so I haven't played since. But I like playing Cavalry Civs, personally. Looking very good. Did someone delete your comment? Nope. Unless YouTube did. I don't know. Unless YouTube did. I don't even have Nightbot or Streamlabs set up, so it would have to be YouTube if anything happened. Damn, this looks sick, dude. I like this terrain. You got a nice selection of terrain, Cosmic. Are you playing at the game store, right? Or something? Now, you know, Cosmic, you're actually supposed to put your walkers on a base. Technically. In fact, you know what we say to that? Boom! Get the bases out of here. In fact, technically, if you put bases on your walkers, you're cheating, because there is no base sizes designated for walkers. I love that. Somebody left a comment. Somebody's like, you're supposed to put your your walkers on bases, otherwise you're cheating, because you can put them right against the wall. But Brett was like, fuck that guy. He's like, because first off, we love putting our walkers on top of terrain, and like the spider walkers will half be on a shipping crate, and the other half's like on a building, and it's like, rah! And some guy got pissed off, and then we were like, wait a minute. We were like, wait a minute. Bases are actually illegal for walkers, because you could just use the base and be like, look, now I'm actually on the objective or something, like when there's no official base size. You get bases with some walkers, but some walkers don't have bases. So you could just put your walker on a bigger base and be like, haha, look at me. But we thought that it was so funny. I was like, damn, dude, this guy's talking shit because we're not using bases. And then Rev, while we were playing one day, he ripped into the guy. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, fuck that guy. You're totally right. This is like early on in our conflict videos. I'm like, dude, we're not using bases. Are we supposed to be using bases? The measurement of walker is always to its body. Yeah, exactly. Oh, hell yeah, dude. That looks sick. Is this a resin Zukioev turret? It looks like. So, yep. In case you guys don't know, cock machine guns mandatory on homemade walkers. In fact, if you're not using some sort of cock machine gun or cock turrets, in fact, you're actually banned on the channel if you're making your own walkers. So Cosmic, he's playing it safe as usual. Very nice. If you haven't figured out, Cosmic loves just making his own shit, which I love. Are these your Soviets? Very cool. And I love that you're kit bashing all sorts of different models and companies and stuff, like file makers or mini makers. Based off the models, I think they were Space Nam. Oh, those guys look sick. Oh, those. Oh, so these are probably War Games Atlantic Space Nam miniatures, and some dude put gas mask heads on top of them. That's probably what this is. They do look like the Space Nam War Games Atlantic minis. Those guys look sick though. So this is what he made up. Yeah, these are great for Paragons. And they even some have, you can see some of the Adeptus Mechanicus. This guy's got a Thompson though. Ah, very cool. They look great. Yo, what's going on, Damn Legion? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, the Wang gun, dude. Yeah, bases don't matter for anything except balance. Exactly. That's the only time I use them is some of them, they can't stand up on their own. Yeah, he did. Well, Cosmic, you know, he's you know, he knows how to do it. So he had to step up the PP gun, you're right. So I think this is the color scheme he's going for with his Soviet army. Because what? You've got an American army, right, Cosmic? You've got your, like, 15,000 points of fucking Axis, if I'm not wrong, or something. And now you're starting a Soviet army, right? Because you don't have one. Jenny Bratz has a Soviet army. I like the colors, though. It's very, like, they're almost like industrial workers or something, you know? They're ripped out of Soviet factories. He is a pioneer in the kit bashing community, okay? So this was our most recent battle report we filmed. Tomorrow we have one-page rules coming out. I have to finish editing it. But if you guys want to look inside the what it looks like when we're filming here, this is the camera that I'm currently... This camera you guys are looking at. My Sony a6400. But Turnip 28, one of our... quickly growing into one of our favorite games. This game was a revelation. Okay? I'm not going to spoil everything, but the hogs are fucking sick. The hogs are so cool, I did not use them right. But you can see Rev's Yardigard, his gnomes. These are the Red Ribbon Society that you farm vegetables and then you eat your vegetables for buffs mid-game. And that's what he was doing. And these are the models that we made on stream by hand. These are my Fungivorous Herd. But these are little mushrooms from the dollar store, little wooden mushrooms. And these are wire armatures that I made by hand. And then we covered them in green stuff, we painted them, and then we covered them in grass on stream. We flocked them a while back. But this game is sick, dude. I love it. And this is like, we wanted a game where there's like the regiments, you know, where there's like, we have movement trays. We don't play movement tray games. This is a movement tray game. Not that I'm using many of them here, but we got the hogs, which these are the hogs I ended up gluing a bunch of little bits and bobs to them. I think they came out really good. And I also covered them in mud because they're hogs. But yeah, it came out really good. This is a great game. We didn't know how one of the rules worked. We ended up doing it wrong, but it was fine. Well, I got a lot of hard work to do with my bots. Classic Sean killing it as usual, man. Look at the base. Just the bases are fucking sick. Look at the bases. He's got like 30 different types of tufts. You see this shit? He's got like lavender plants. He's got this sort of flower. He's got like this sort of shorter grass. He's got lawner grass. He's got like 16 different things on the base. It looks sick. I love the color scheme. The color scheme's different than what I've seen. I mean, we're not even talking about the hand-painted flowers on the helmets, which look amazing. He even got the bloody skull tufts. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, the bloody skull tufts. Those are my favorite tufts. But he went, like, with a really, like, worn, crusty armor. It looks like he kind of went with this darker color and then probably painted the raised edges, I'm assuming, like highlighted. It looked great, though. I really like the color scheme. I haven't seen anyone kind of do this sort of... It's like a bone... I don't know. It's almost like Necron-y, but not Necron. You know, it's like... It looks cool. I don't know. The fucking helmets are unbelievable, though. I mean, look at that. Hold on. Let me see if I could show you. Fucking... I don't think Sean will care. He sent me something. Hold on, I'll show you. What inspired him. Ah, this was it. You want to see where he got the inspiration for that? Take a look. Some other guy at his club. Look at the Japanese, bro. He did Japanese... What are these? Maple blossoms or whatever they're called? I guess this is what inspired him to do the flower petals on his British helmets. You know, I've been giving Rev a lot of credit, but Rev could have done Japanese maple blossoms. I'm just saying. Don't get angry at me. I know. I'm just saying. Okay? Just saying. Should have done it. And I'll show you. You want to see the other types of photos? Ah, I shouldn't show you that. It's him. It's photos of dudes wearing fezzes. Okay? It's the sort of shit Sean sends me all the time. Okay? Grown men wearing fezzes. TV characters, him, random people. Alright. Some more Soviet work. Very nice. This guy's like, fuck. I've seen some shit. Oh, nice, dude. Look, all the Paragons put together. Dude, who is surprised they have not... Why did they not do a Paragon unit? Paragons are one of the main units in, like, the U.S. Army. I feel like that people play, too. And that, like, probably people... I feel like that people want to use. And they still got the old ones with the... can we look at it? Where they're all, like... Because if you look at the old rules, they were all different people with different weapons and different stuff. So it's like, this is Jimmy Job, and this is Bill Bob, or something. I'm really surprised they didn't do new Paragons. I know they're going to do it at some point, but I'm really surprised they're taking this long. Oh, you think they're holding out for a Soviet starter set? For when they do a Soviet release, maybe they'll do it then? Because these guys, they do look sick, but it just doesn't, I feel like it doesn't work on the table now. It just doesn't work. There's not even a dude with a heavy Tesla rifle. Or that guy does have a heavy Tesla rifle. My bad. But like this guy had an axe, and he was like a fast dude. This guy blew shit up. This guy shot 2 Thompsons, so he had more shots or something. This guy is just gigantic, and he used to beat people up or something. This guy had a sword. So they all had like special rules, and you could pick who you wanted to use from your available Paragon squad or something. But I will say, something like this, I think looks 10 times better than this. These are sick. Don't get me wrong. These are sick. But I think this is where 100% just fucking get some War Games Atlantic minis, print some STLs. There's no reason to buy these when they're not even necessarily relevant to the way Paragons work nowadays. And you can't even use a 7-man squad of Paragons. So... Though, you could probably use this guy as the new character, the new Paragon hero. Because the guy has, like, a Japanese samurai sword, right? Just give him a beard, you green stuff on a beard or something. You could probably use this guy as the new Paragon hero. So, there's that. I will say that. But I do like... I say, just fucking 3D print, or use some Katachans. Yeah, Katachans or something, you know what I mean? I use Katachan knockoffs that are more based on real, like, Vietnam era soldiers, so they have M16s, and I think they work great. I get it, maybe not using the Warhammer guys because they have, like, actual, like, bolters or whatever the hell the guns that Guard use or whatever the fuck. The las guns. SG-1, I don't know what those are. Also, what's going on, Scar? Yeah, that guy's fucking big. Hell yeah. He's a big boy. It's like my buddy Fred. He could probably kill you by just hugging you. He's like a tank. He could probably just pick me up with one hand, like by my t-shirt if he wanted to. I use 3D bred Vietnam MTH models. Yeah, I use the... Oh, I gotta be careful because there could just be tits the first second I look. Green hell. Yeah, here we go. These guys. Daka Daka Store, Green Hell Division Commando Squad. Oh wait, maybe not these exact ones. There's the next squad. Infantry Squad, here we go. Yeah. And one of the reasons I picked them is because they have guns that look like M16s. So it kind of fits the vibe, you know what I mean? And they are the size, you just print them the way they are the size of what I picture a Paragon would be, where they're larger than a basic infantryman. The only problem is this is my Tesla gun. It's like a freaking... Which kind of works, because he's got like a backpack thing for it. But it's like a... it's more like a flamer gun. But he does have some other ones that I actually haven't taken a look at. See, this is the issue. See this guy right here? He's got a freaking power... I mean, this is pretty badass, honestly. He does have a power fist, but he does have like an Imperium insignia. As close as you can get without getting sued by GW. And these guns look very Warhammer-ish. I guess that could be a great heavy Tesla. But... Actually, this guy looks pretty cool. I like this guy right here. But these guns, they look a little too like Warhammerish. You know what I mean? Old Catachans are worth more on eBay. Yeah, sure. You can't buy them anymore. They're out of stock. Only their command squad. I think Rev has the old meta ones, if I'm not wrong. These are pretty cool. Alcat's Rats Brigade. Doomsday Veterans. Yeah, these are a little... They work. They're a little... You gotta be careful. It's easy to get 240k-ish. I don't want them to look 240k-ish for sure. Okay. So... Moraz Ghul. And also, this is what I'm talking about. What do you see in this photo from Invasion America? Or a teaser that was posted on Instagram or Facebook for it? What do you see, chat? What do you see in this photo, eh? A hell of a lot of real bolt action units, which I love. All of their, like, photos that they took in the beginning of the game, you could tell they didn't want to have a bunch of basic infantry. But now they're embracing it. I think they've gotten the feedback. Yes, we want basic infantry in Conflict, and we love it. So now you have Moraz Ghouls, your anti-tank dudes. You got a walker here, but it's you know what you would expect. A bunch of basic infantrymen fighting to the death. Bunch of dorks wearing winter gear in the desert. Yeah, exactly. I think this is supposed to be Alaska. That's what it's supposed to be. Obviously, but yeah, so what Ganon was saying, looks like the Moraz Ghul resin kits from the failed starter, but then I realized the resin bears just look like the plastic, so maybe these are plastic. Yeah, is there not? Remember they showed Moraz Ghul, but they're not. They remember that they showed those Moraz Ghul. That's these guys. I don't know if you guys remember that. But they're not available, right? I remember seeing these. These are the ones Rev uses, the Soviet Siberian Terror Squad, which is aka the Moraz Ghouls. But if we look at the new... Don't they have a newer Moraz Ghoul? Oh, no, they don't. I forgot when... But they did, like... I remember seeing that image before. Compare the image of Moraz Ghul. I got those Moraz Ghul last week. They're so much better. Where are they? Am I not seeing it or something? What the hell's going on? Did I miss it? What's going on? It's like taking me to a different page. Something's not... You see that? It's supposed to go... Isn't it supposed to just expand the page? It's like taking me to another page. Is it like, is something going on? Is there more Moraz Ghul that I'm not seeing because the UI is freaking out? Oh, here we go. If I go back, it'll show it, right? That was weird. Okay. Yeah, so these are just the Moraz Ghul, right? eBay, someone's selling their starter box. They're sold separate. So what? Did they have a separate Moraz Ghul? Was it these guys that they sold at some point, but they didn't or something? I'm very confused as to what's going on with these Moraz Ghul at the moment. Hey, Jim, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Check Marcher United States Infantry from War Games Atlantic. Okay. It's nice to see the Soviets brought their flamethrowers to keep the Yanks warmed up. Oh, yeah. Of course, you gotta be... Moraz Ghouls. I'm pretty sure it's G-H-U-L, and it's... What is it? No, I don't think that's how you spell it. How the fuck do you spell it? I want to say it's Moroz, M-O-R-O-Z or something. Ghul, I wanted to say it was. What the hell? How the fuck do you spell it? I put it on screen a ton of times. Yeah. Oh, no, it is. Okay, okay. So it is Moraz, but it is just Gul. Yeah. The blue ones are the second edition models. Ah, possible resin or oh, wait. They are. But they haven't been, like, released. Google Soviet Starter Kit. Yeah, I remember there was, like, the failed kits or something. Yeah, these guys. Oh, wait, they did sell them, though. They just sold out? They did sell this at some point, is what you're saying. Or did they actually not sell these? Because they're not selling them anymore. Yeah, I remember seeing this, but this was something they actually sold? They were sold. Okay. Oh, wait, did they not sell them? Now I'm confused. The blue ones are the second edition models, possible resin or plastic. Yeah, I remember seeing this image. I remember seeing the image with these guys. They honored existing orders with the 3D prints. Ah, okay. So it was like, I remember they had a hard time. They weren't able to deliver the starter kits or something, right? And it was kind of like a big deal. And they were like, listen, we're sorry. We had issues. They were going to do something with... they were trying to have someone manufacture it for them, and it didn't work out or something. So they had to switch over to plastic and, like, change up things. And they had to slow down their release schedule to deal with it or something. Wasn't there... There was something that happened, I remember. Okay, interesting. But so people physically got these in STL form or 3D prints, these blue ones, or has nobody gotten these actual models? Yeah, you could pre-order it. Then the thing was a production issue happened, so they decided to ask people if they want to cancel the pre-order. If you don't want to cancel it, we will 3D print them. Ah, okay. I gotcha. Ah, it was failed. It was a failed, yeah, not an STL, but they 3D printed them. Oh, I remember they were going to 3D print it. What wasn't that? Was they were going to 3D print them or something? But the 3D printing didn't work out. And they were like, fuck this, right? Was that what they were going to do? It was something like that. Or was it like resin? Either way, some people physically got these 3D printed is what you're saying. This specific model. Interesting. Interesting, huh? So it's probably, there's still going to be these, but in plastic or resin. So this is from Invasion America in Alaska. This is, like, last week they released this photo, Warlord, somewhere on Facebook or Instagram, and they're on the board. So... this could be a glimpse into, yes, they're keeping the same... I mean, this is what the new Moraz Ghul are going to be, but maybe they're going to do it in plastic or something. And that's what Ganon was talking about. Okay. Well, we just went down the freaking Moraz Ghul rabbit hole. Holy shit. Yeah, Ed is right. The Moraz Ghul are resin. Warlord printed them to order. They did not release any STL. I understand what you're saying, but you're saying 3D printed them. It needs to be an STL to 3D print it, is what I'm saying. They're not selling the STL, I understand, which is honestly kind of dumb. If they do have STL files, they should 100% sell them. And that's my opinion. But with how popular 3D printing is nowadays, if I started a miniature game or something and I sold physical miniatures, I think it would... I could understand, like, you're probably going to lose out on profit, but I feel like you would make more money overall if you just sold STLs as well. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm actually dead wrong with that, and you just make way more money off selling plastic, but... New boxes for all factions due Q4. Okay. Okay, cool. Hell yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff to look forward to. Fucking power to the... Hell yeah! Fight the power! Said the Soviet army. Hell yeah. Are these like the Iron Fists or something? Step for industry, STL for home use. Gotcha, okay. It's a different file type, but it's essentially, you get the idea. So apparently as well, they teased something. Ganon's been giving us all of our Warlord teases. This is from their email list or whatever, their emails they send out. We're getting Armies of France and its accompanying plastics ready to go on pre-order at the end of the month. But that doesn't mean that we're letting up the pace of bolt action releases in the meantime. And isn't this a freaking Chiha, or isn't this a Japanese tank or something? I said it looks like a Chinu. Does a Chiha have a plastic? It's a Chinu, yeah. The Chinu only has like the older kit, right? Does a Chiha have an updated kit? So, I mean, they're reducing the points. We already know they're reducing the points of the cannons. So, this tank might see more use. Valark said open day next week. We'll have new bolt action K-47 announcements on top of other games. God, you British guys are so freaking lucky, dude. All right? Where's our New York City Warlord Games flagship United States store that I get to go, tabletop command post, we'll get all the boys, the US boys, we'll go and do a release date for Konflikt. Bullshit! These British guys are so lucky, dude. And look at this. Which I guess their address is public, so it doesn't matter. But I was like, did they accidentally dox themselves? But it doesn't matter. That's just my content brain, always keeping in mind never to show my address to you guys. Just so somebody doesn't show up at my house wearing chaps, alright? And in case you don't know, we've already discussed this in depth on stream. All chaps are assless. Just in case you didn't know. And look what arrived in our warehouse, ready to start shipping very, very soon. Hell yeah, Invasion America's here, and there's still time to pre-order your copy and be them on the first to get your hands on the second installment of the Rift War series. God, I'm so fucking excited for Invasion America. This is when part of me wishes that Warlord accepted my affiliate program. They just ghosted me for months, okay? But I would love to be part of... And look at the cover, it looks even cooler than I thought it did before. Did it have all this shit as well? Because I actually took one of their artworks and I photoshopped it and used this guy in one of my thumbnails. But God, I just can't wait to get the book. And Rev pre-ordered it, so we're really at the mercy of Rev for him getting his shit together and making sure that if it gets like stuck at the post office or something, so I'm gonna have to get on Rev's ass when we know they're going out. I'm gonna be like, dude, you check that fucking mailbox every day. Okay? I'm lucky if I can get my FLGS to call me when my pre-order for Warlord book comes in. Yeah. Speaking of which, if you guys are interested, dude, shout out. We still have the Tabletop Strategist. We still have till August 31st, I think it is, for our sponsor. So you guys can get free shipping, $75 or more for Bolt Action and Konflikt 47. But dude, their prices are sick. Like, we got the brand new automated infantry platoon box, $10 cheaper, and we don't got to pay for the shipping. What do you call it? I mean, we don't have to pay the more expensive shipping. I ended up spending, more than 75 or whatever, so I didn't have to pay for shipping. But it's cheaper than Warlord, and you don't have to deal with the tariff stuff. Though we did mention this, chat. Okay, yo, you guys want a home run video? Ed Scar or Klovek? I'm too lazy to do it. Cover the freaking tariff redemption on Warlord's website. How many people here know about the tariff redemption claim on Warlord's website? Now, you guys aren't in the U.S., so it probably doesn't matter. But the tariff redemption thing, I had no idea about it, okay? And I had fucking $12 that Warlord gave back to me because of the tariff thing. I had no idea about this whole thing. But somebody should make a video on it. You know what I mean? But that being said, you can use code Mike Rolls if you guys want to. If you're in the U.S., pre-order or buy some miniatures. It's not only cheaper than Warlord, but it's also here in the U.S. It came in a couple days. So if you guys are in the U.S., Tabletop Strategist, they're, what do you call it? They're awesome. They're out of stock on a lot of stuff. We have our page where they had everything in stock. But, I don't know. We'll see. It was our first sponsorship. I don't even know if anyone used the code. I really hope someone did. But you know what? Shout out to them. Hopefully they at least, you know, they got a ton of coverage and a bunch of views on the channel and everything for that video. But I don't know if anyone used the code or anything. I bought some stuff from them because it was cheap. But anyways, if you guys are looking to pick some stuff up, go to Tabletop Strategist, see what they got in stock. If they got something you like, pick it up from Bolt Action Conflict. You can use Mike Rolls. You can get free shipping 75 over. And the thing is, that would really help the channel. So if you see something they have and you're looking to pick something up, think about that. But that being said, shout out to them for at least even taking the chance and sponsoring the channel. So Mordine made a video on the tariff thing. Okay, good. Okay, I had no idea. And I remember we talked about it on stream and some people didn't even know about it. So I was like, damn, dude. Warlord doing sprue recycling too now. Drop 10 sprues and you get a free sprue of Greek hoplites. Oh, I saw they say you get a free mini or something. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that they're doing that. And I'm assuming they can just melt those down and probably reuse them, right? That's the whole idea. I will say, you know how many fucking sprues people probably throw out? That's such a waste. I usually use my sprues, for instance, building like terrain and stuff. I never really just throw them out. I usually cut them up into pieces and use them for kit bashing stuff. But, what do you call it? That's really awesome. I'm telling you, dude, Warlord does... Look, I don't know. They've probably done maybe things that people didn't like in the past or something. But so far, transitioning from Warhammer and going on... And then going to... or GW products and then going to Warlord game products has been such a refreshing breath of fresh air. Just the price on stuff, let alone how the company handles themselves and deals with stuff and their public image and how they talk to the community and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's a big deal nowadays. That is a really big deal. You know what I mean? I think as a consumer, that's a big deal to me, what the company's like and this and that and how they like treat their freaking customers. You know what I mean? So it just in general, as I get older, it just kind of influences how I do things. But Mike, speaking of tariffs, what tea are you drinking? I don't know. I should throw the tea in the goddamn bay is what I should do. All right? I should go up to Boston, throw the tea in the bay, and say, why the hell do I have to pay tariffs? But it's our fault, so. But we're not going to get into all that. But still, someone's tea is getting thrown in the bay. Let it be known. I know people who throw out sprues where there's still upgrades and other weapon options on them. Oh my god. No. Can you imagine they're just throwing out, dude? Think of the kit bashing. I'm right, Cosmic is probably hurting in his soul. Just all the arms and guns that you could just be gluing onto random shit. You know what I mean? Fucking hell. That's your teammate, go ahead and buy it? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't drink it anymore. Anyways, the sleepy time tea. I'll just go throw it in the bay. Send Mike to the original Boston. That'll earn him. Where's the original Boston? Are you talking about English Boston? Is it like where they have like tuna fish? What the hell did I see? In like England, that you guys will do baked potatoes where they're putting like tuna fish and like random shit in the baked potatoes. For the love of God. Don't tell me you guys are taking part in those tuna fish baked potato monstrosities I've seen coming out of England. All right? For the love of God. I hope that's a specific regional thing to like some weird Birmingham thing or whatever, all right? Fucking tuna baked potatoes lush in it. Get out of here with that shit. Get your goddamn
canned tuna fish off the baked potatoes. Ridiculous. Baked bean, and look, I'm not gonna lie, people make fun of baked beans on toast, but baked beans on toast with some cheese is fucking, that's like a poor man's meal. I'll eat that all day, and I'm a poor man, okay? Okay? Dude, I just can't. Canned tuna is one of the most disgusting things. I mean, I love sushi, and I've fished my whole life, but I don't even necessarily like eating white fish a lot of times, unless it's, you know, prepared really nicely. But, like, really shitty fish is really shitty. But fucking canned tuna, bro, oh my, I literally, it's the sort of thing my mom used to make it, like, make stuff with it. I would, like, be gagging from the smell of it. It's like, and mayonnaise. I'm one of those guys that hates mayonnaise, which is funny, because in Turkey, speaking of which, you guys want to, look, do they sell baked potatoes at the beach? In England, at least, with your tuna fish on there? When I went to Turkey back in the 90s, and I've been to Turkey many times, but I specifically remember it was in the 90s, we were kids, and we were visiting, I want to say it might have been Antalya or something. But we were in a specific area in Turkey, and we found out this later on was everywhere. They were fucking there was a dude with a cart selling baked potatoes on the beach. And that was a very normal thing in Turkey. You would get a baked potato, and they would love putting mayonnaise on it and cheese and stuff like that, and sucuk. But fucking, dude, the mayonnaise, I hate mayonnaise, okay? Unless, like, homemade mayonnaise is one thing, right? But it's like this modern day mayonnaise in a jar that lasts for like 1,000 years sort of thing. If somebody takes eggs and makes mayonnaise from scratch, that's different, right? But that's, at that point, you're like fucking at a restaurant or something. Like an aioli or something. But yeah, dude, tuna fish, and that has mayo in it, just all that, like, tuna fish and, like, salads, like potato salads with mayo in it and stuff, that, dude, that stuff, I will leave a room if somebody cracks open a can of tuna fish. It's just the smell of it, dude, just, like, traumatized me. Air fried fish is good. I mean, I love fried fish, but even in the oven, like, a nice white fish with lemon and butter is really good, like fluke. But I'm more of, like, a red fish, or, like, you know, like a tuna sort of guy, like ahi tuna. I live in Long Island, New York, dude. We have guys, they go 50 miles offshore to the Hudson Canyon, or like 80 miles. They catch thousands of pounds of bluefin. They come back, and they sell it to the local sushi shops and the Japanese restaurants. So we get fresh bluefin. We get fresh yellowfin tuna. Fucking everything you can imagine. We have some of the best seafood. It's like, I love sushi. Like year round, too, because there are guys going out in fucking November and December catching tuna. You need actual cheese? Look, I am a big cheese lover, okay? I've been to France. I've been to fromageries, okay? I love me a goat cheese, a brie, a fucking, every type of cheese in the world. Real cheese. That being said, dude, that fucking government yellow cheese on a burger goes hard. Woo! That fucking fake-ass processed American cheese goes really damn good on a burger. I'll just say that. And we get the Boar's Head, like, white, non-dyed American cheese, so at least it's a little better. But, oh, man. Loves cheese, talks French. Boo that man. I actually took French for 4 years, but I don't remember any of it. But I will say France was amazing. And this is right. This was, like, not that long after 9/11. So we were like, we thought the whole world hated America and shit. And everyone's like, oh, my God, you're American. We love you. And they're fucking giving us free cheese, giving us free that. I went down to the wine store. And this is how fucking degenerate France is. We were like, I was 13, 14 years old. We went down to the wine store and bought wine because they just send their kids to go buy wine because their parents are all just drinking. So we went down and bought wine. And like, if I get like 12 years old, we went and bought bottles of wine and brought it back and shit. They're like, yeah, you're good, you're good. It was just so funny. But, man, I love, like, going to the bakeries, eating fresh baguettes, croissants with chocolate inside. Oh. And then, not to mention, we went down to Normandy. So I got to go see the, it's a huge monument slash park slash, like, almost like a, not a museum, but like it's a memoriam built for the soldiers in World War II, and I forgot the main name, but it's the main one where it's like this, they have these big gardens and all these stuff. We went there, and then we went to, because we were actually staying in Brittany. I forgot exactly where in Brittany, but we went and stayed down. My dad's friend had a house. It's another Turkish guy, and right where we were swimming on the beach, there was a collapsed German bunker that every day we'd go crawl into. But they had the fucking German bunkers right there on the beach. It was so cool. And it was Karnak. It was near Karnak. It was where they have French leprechauns called cardigans, which are little French leprechaun dudes that throw rocks at people when they're not looking and stuff. And that's where they have the monuments, the stone monuments, like Stonehenge, but the French version, which is Karnak. Dude, that place is so sick. A lot of that, I mean, you got to realize that whole area of France, too, is very much so. It's like Normandy. It was based off of, like, you know, the British dudes coming over and taking over that part of France. So it was very, like, really cool place in France. I don't know. It was really cool. You were in Austria, Turkey, Poland? I mean, Poland's a beautiful country, too. And obviously, I love Turkey. I've been there a bunch of times. Austria seems sick, too, man. I just love Europe. Europe has so much history. This country's so young. We're 250-something years old. Meanwhile, Europe, I mean, you're walking down streets that were fucking cobblestone streets that were laid, like, hundreds, if not 1,000 years ago at times. French had gypsy gangs. Everywhere has gypsies. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. We got them on TLC. We have the gypsy shows in America. The Gypsy Wedding Show. Anybody ever watch that Gypsy Wedding Show? I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was Gypsy Weddings, it was called. I had a girlfriend that loved watching that show back in the day. You went to Slovakia and I didn't even see Klovek? Son of a bitch, dude. Well, be lucky if America makes it to 260 years. I think you'd be surprised. I think it's going to take a hell of a lot. Look, we're not going to get into politics and everything, but this country's been through a lot. I actually listened to 5 hours of Louis C.K. and Shane Gillis talk about every United States president all the way up to modern day, to Trump. And it's very interesting. The history of the United States is so wild, dude. In 250 years, so much has happened in this country, and the craziest shit has happened. Dude, it's going to take a lot for anything to make this country go away. I'm telling you. It's going to take a fucking lot. And that's like world-ending shit. You'd be surprised. This country's going to be pretty resilient. So, we've been through a lot already. Crazy-ass shit. I mean, just the Civil War was enough to split America in half, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, very interesting. But that was really cool. If you guys want to check out that podcast, if you enjoy Shane Gillis, he's a comedian. What do you call it? That was a really good podcast. The stream is dying again? All right. Well, we'll see if it comes back. Hopefully you guys can still at least hear me, chat. Are we back? Okay. It might be flip-flopping. It looks pretty stable, though. Looks pretty stable. The feed started dying as soon as he started supporting America making it. Commies got to him. The only thing that can stop America is Super America. Vote Cosmic for Super America president. Oh, dude. It looks like we're back. I want to say that, chat, we are going to end the stream here soon because I think also it's around the normal time Mordian's going to be going live here soon. But we got a nice little 3 hours in. Finally, after 9 years of streaming, constant bitrate droppage, having to replace monitors, having to buy fucking $400 Netgear Nighthawk Wi-Fi routers, all this troubleshooting stuff, they have fiber available in our area, and we're finally upgrading to fiber on Saturday. They're going to come run a line, replace this coaxial 1950s bullshit out of my house, and we're going to have some fiber. Finally, I cannot wait. So I bet you we're still going to have internet issues, but with apparently we have 500 gig download, and we have 20 megabyte. No, we have 500 megabyte download, like 20 megabyte upload or something. They told us. I was like, what the hell is this bullshit? We're paying for extra internet, and my upload is so like pitiful right now. So we're gonna upgrade to a gigabyte upload, which the upload is what counts. I'm uploading to you guys right now, right? Download is like watching a stream, watching stuff. We're gonna have a gigabyte upload and download. So it's like we're finally stepping into the modern age, okay, of freaking internet. because we're literally using technology that we've been using since like the 80s with coaxial cables. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of copper wrapped together that corrodes, has all sorts of issues. You know what I mean? Oh my god, I can't wait. I'm off to go paint to figure out how to face my Russians. It seems I may have a game with them coming up. Nice, dude. Well, I look forward to some photos. So, Morty and a Valrak are on. You have 12 watching. Not bad. Hey, you know, look, I try not to worry about it too much. You know what I mean? It's not like I'll never stream because Morty's streaming, but you know, I had a certain amount of hours to stream because I'm busy editing and stuff, and I try to do it at times like where it doesn't mess with other people as much. You know, and which, you know, Scar does the same. Cosmic and stuff, you know. But that being said, it doesn't mean I'm not going to stream just because Morty is streaming, you know what I mean? But, you know, I try to stream during the day when, you know, I feel like probably more people would end up watching and I go back to work, so. You got fiber 20 years ago? That's because you live in... Holy shit, you had fiber 20 years ago? My Hey Ass Seed has had it for 6 years. Dude, Nix. I live on Long Island, which, in case you guys don't know what Long Island looks like... Okay, we're literally attached to freaking New York City. Okay, let me pull up a map. Am I gonna dox myself if I do this? No. Oh, I might dox myself, so let's not do that. Holy shit! Thank God I didn't do that. Using Google Maps, and it's like, you want your home address on the screen? No, fucking asshole. No, I do not want my home address on the screen. So this is Long Island. Okay? New York City. And New York City is multiple little islands. You have... Bronx, Harlem? I don't even fucking know. This is like Manhattan. You got Queens is actually on Long Island. So this is like its own island right here. And this attaches to the continental United States. So this is a little island, and then this itself is an island right here. This whole thing. Because this, I think... Right? Or no, is this Queens or something? I don't know. Queens is actually part of Long Island. Anyways. This is like 100 miles or something. It's pretty freaking long. And this is New York City, one of the most like advanced places in the world. I live in this area. Out east. Okay? And the further east you go into Suffolk County, the more backwoods you get. All right, and this whole area is all like freaking farmlands. It's really weird. It's actually like, if you look, this whole area is like going back, like if you went back 100 years, and it's just like farms and stuff like that. Out here is also farms, but it's also like old whaling and clamming and fishing. The problem is, it's all like the infrastructure out here is so old. So out in Nassau County, they've updated. They have wire. They've ran underground lines. Out here on the east end of Long Island, where the infrastructure is still old, they have all these above ground telephone poles. That's why we get really bad problems with storms. We still have power outages and all that stuff. So that's the issue with living on the east end of Long Island, is it's taken many, many years for them to actually update the infrastructure out here. And the other thing is, this whole area is the richest people in the world. Okay? So these are mansions that are like hundreds of millions of dollars. Saudi princes, freaking Rockefellers, like Calvin Klein, whatever. So this area is like, it's very slow for things to happen because of the way that the politics are out here. And it's all fucking just the most richest people in the world, and they essentially like pay all the pay the huge chunk of taxes, so they're like super in on the politics. So they don't, which I kind of like. They don't like the development is slowed down out here, because this part of Long Island is like literally every house is right next to each other. There's freaking Walmarts everywhere. It's like regular America bullshit where there's no trees. It's all fucking parking lots. That's like all of this. Out here is still forests. We have our bays, we have our estuaries, we have farmlands. It's still like somewhat not completely fucked. But they're slowly doing it. They're slowly building their Walmarts, their Targets, and they're slowly knocking down all the trees. But that being said, the rich money is slowing that down, you know what I mean? They don't the rich people don't want to live in Western Long Island. That's why they have their summer houses out here. So, I'm just a poor dude that lives out here. But, anyways, that's to explain Long Island why we don't have fiber. They finally got fiber. Yeah, the food is in the east. It's all clamming, fishing, farming, all that is out here. Do you live on the Far Harbor Fallout 3 DLC? Yeah, exactly. What was that Fallout 4? When you, wasn't it like there was a... I think I remember. It's like you had to walk all the way and there was like a big ship. Wasn't there like a giant container ship where people lived or something? Was that... am I thinking of the right thing? And you had to like get to the coastline or something and go on it was something like that. There was like a giant ship that they lived on that was beached or something, I want to say. Am I thinking of the same thing? Anyways, we're finally getting fiber. Thank God. I cannot fucking wait. That being said, we will probably still have internet issues, but I'm sure it'll be better. So anyways, chat, I'm excited. That's happening Saturday. Now, normally we stream on Saturday afternoons. We're probably going to stream Saturday night. So, both of them. Yeah, both of them had that, right? Point Lookout or Rivet City. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I remember there was, maybe it was a carrier. I remember there was like some sort of big-ass ship that you had to like go a long distance to get. And there was like water, but it was maybe not on the water. It was like on the coastline. And there was like a giant like ship that I had to get to and do missions or something. It's probably Rivet City is what I'm thinking of. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it wasn't near the water. It was just a ship, and that's what I thought. But I don't know. Maybe I never played that DLC for Fallout or whatever. All right, chat. Well, anyways, thank you so much for hanging out. Point Lookouts Fallout 3, Far Harbor Fallout 4. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, if you guys are interested too, you should be following Klovek because Klovek makes Konflikt 47 content. But he also has been streaming a shit ton of Fallout New Vegas. So you can go watch him do that as well. But, alright, chat. Thank you so much for hanging out. Nice, productive stream. We finally figured out that we're going to be going with some pink on our Janissaries, but I think I just need to figure out how to do it in the most tasteful way, so. But I'm happy. That was, like, genuinely worrying me. I was like, I need to make some videos on these guys, and I still don't know how I'm going to actually finish painting them, so. But thank you, Chad. I appreciate that. Everybody hanging out and, spend some time with us. Brian, Klovek, Nix. I know we had Scar in here. We had all sorts of folks. So thank you so much, chat, for hanging out. Of course, Cosmic as well. All right, chat. You guys have an awesome day. We'll see you Saturday night for some streaming with Fiber. And, doing something probably hobby-related. But all right, chat. You take it easy. You guys have an awesome night. We'll see you, all right?